Eric better fucking carry this show.
Welcome back to the Comics Aficionados live on Think and Critical YouTube. Your Saturday morning delight is back. Doc is supposed to be here, but these guys have already drove him away somehow.
No, it's just an internet connection.
Yeah, maybe his internet went out. I don't think that's what happened, but we're gonna have a good time today.
I told Doc I was not bringing you a breakfast burrito, and he left. I'm sorry, Doc.
I think you're annoying with him with your singing. I think that's what did it. But we'll see. We're gonna stop that, Fatal J. You're annoying me now.
Sorry about that.
We're gonna talk about the Punisher, ASM 26 Across the Spider-Verse. We might get the CBR, and we do have a new Birds of Prey team coming up. I'm glad to be back. We did have the Geek Out special last weekend, which I hope everyone enjoyed. Had a lot of fun doing that one. I think everyone enjoyed it. And we have a great panel, minus Doc. He'll probably return. Hopefully he'll get over.
Come on, Doc, get back in here.
Whatever Fatal J did.
He's having a
Doc,
cigarette.
Do you need me to sing you my love song to you?
No, he doesn't want you to sing. I think that was the big problem. But whatever. We got a great panel here today. First up, we do have Gabe Hernandez from Comical Opinions and Weird Science returning. How you doing, Gabe?
I'm glad to be here, and I'm looking forward to talking about comics and all the great news of exciting, wonderful, positive things that came out this week. And then after the first 5 minutes, then we're going to talk about everything else.
So what happened with you and DC?
Okay.
They knew that your reviews were so over the top positive that you didn't mean them, so they removed you from the group.
Right. So for the folks in chat and anybody who views this after the fact, Weird Science received word this week that our access to advanced review copies to get the reviews done ahead of time for the embargo date for DC, which is Tuesday, has been pulled. So, okay. What that means basically is they would rather not get advanced access to write reviews in ahead of time, which is fine. That's their decision. That's not going to stop us from writing DC reviews, but it just means our schedule is going to have to shift a little bit to accommodate the embargo date. Why? Well, that sort of depends on who you ask. The DC letter was very boilerplate and cordial, but pretty clear that they don't necessarily view our reviews as conducive to DC's uplifting atmosphere. So we're just going to keep writing the reviews as we see fit. And
DC's uplifting atmosphere.
Oh, sure. Everybody's positive. It's one big happy family. Every review is a fantastic review. Every comic deserves a 10 out of 10. Unfortunately, we don't see it that way, and I think we just came to a disagreement about that. It's not the first time they pulled our access. It's probably not going to be the last. We're just going to have to shift our publishing cycle a little bit. This is the way it goes. That's the name of the game. And when you're in a, how should we say, when you're in this kind of ecosystem where the publishers expect, I won't say favors, but they expect positive treatment for early access. And that's just kind of what you wind up with. And that's just the way it goes. But we'll figure it out. It's not going to stop us. Reviews are still coming. They're just going to have to adjust a little bit, and that's just the way of it.
Negative reviews have to be a day later, not a day before. Yeah. That's the problem.
If you're a fan of Weird Science and the truth that they put behind their comic book reviews, and it's not like they review everything badly for DC Comics. I think they've done some very positive reviews for The Flash, Superman, Green Arrow,
Green
Shazam. Yes.
Yep. Basically, anything written by Jeremy Adams or Mark Waid pretty much has been positive recently. Everything else. So it depends on what you ask.
If you don't like that and you don't like what DC did, I don't know. Adam, say, what the hell are you doing to our boys over Weird Science? So you're going to get your DC reviews a little late, but you should get your podcast and everything about the same time.
I will say that we've been contacted by, I think, at least 2 different creators, right? People who work at DC, who expressing sympathy, saying that's kind of BS nonsense, that they agree that our reviews are good. And in at least one case, I've seen the written note that says people who wouldn't have otherwise picked up some of their comics did so because of Weird Science reviews. So, I mean, if you're a marketing guy at DC, that's what you're looking for.
If everything's positive, it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. And we are not that. If you positive or negative, you get what you get because you earned it. And that's the standard we look to set, and we will continue to do so.
There you go.
You're a better man than me because they all suck.
Wow. Hey, look, it'd be different if we were talking about the Snyderverse, but it's not that bad. So it's all right.
Who else we got? We also have Fatal J returning to the channel. You already ran off the stalwart of the channel besides myself. Doc's the only other guy that's been here since day one. How's everything going, Fatal J?
Look, man, I don't care anything you're saying right now. As soon I'm gonna expose him, Wes, real quick to everybody in the chat. So I just happened to come backstage, and the first thing Wes noticed is something that I'm very insecure about. Is my widow peak right here, and I don't know if you guys can see it. He might need to blow you up.
It's clearly there.
I feel like I can't see it because I shave it every day, and I shave it to the point where I start to see bone in my forehead. But
You should pluck it.
Look, if I keep this widow peak, I'm gonna look like Eddie Monster from the Monsters, and I don't want to look like him right now.
What did Gabe say you look like? A cross between Tiger Woods and Luther Vandross.
I just don't want to look like Count Dracula, because if I go in my widow peak, it's literally gonna be a long triangle. Right?
Look, are you bad mouthing Blackula? That is one of my favorite movies of all time. Don't do that.
Exactly.
Anyways, look. I will have a long triangle right here. Chat, let me know if I need to grow that in. And I really can't believe the chat right now because I know you guys hate my guts. So if I do grow it in, I don't know if you're making fun of me or I actually look good. So Wes, can you please stop making fun of me and making me feel insecure? I'm already...
I didn't make fun of you or make you feel insecure. I was like, why don't you just grow it out? That way your face is asymmetrical because it makes it look really round.
Look. My channel
That's
is
what
dying.
you should be insecure about is your big round face rather than your widow's peak, which makes it look a little different.
Look, see, it's bad enough that my YouTube channel is dead. It's dying. Nobody is watching. Nobody is
because
subscribing.
you went to shorts, man. I told you this.
It was before the shorts, man.
Nah,
it was before the shorts. The only person that cares, I know, is Eric. Eric, I want some of that steak and eggs, please, sir. Thank you so much. I'm glad to be on the show.
And that is not avocado and Eric's steak
want.
and eggs.
Mm-hmm.
Doc is not coming back. We miss you, Doc. I'm so sorry that these guys are knuckleheads. My goodness. You already ruined the whole entire panel, Fatal. You better have read modern comics. They actually have a decent opinion on here. And just
the only thing that
the
only thing I read, and it's not modern, it probably came out months ago, was the Batman Night, whatever, by Zdarsky, whatever his name is. How many months did that come out? How many months did that come out? I know it's
a year ago.
6 months.
It's with one of the Kuberts.
I love that comic book, man. I love it. You guys,
Donnie,
hate it, right?
The reason Jay's videos never show up in your feed is because you don't watch them.
Exactly.
Damn.
Exactly.
That's pretty much.
Yeah.
You don't watch
who knew after all the terrible Marvel comics you make Doc read, the thing that broke him was my singing voice, along with Eric.
It wasn't you. It's Fatal J.
It was me, man.
I contributed. I accept the blame.
Yeah.
I take responsibility.
Don't worry, you are going to see Doc rant about Jason Aaron's Punisher. We already recorded the video before the stream.
There's nothing that can happen. It's gonna happen.
And we're going to review this week's X-Men comic book where they make Cyclops look bad. And I guess we're going to review Steelworks as well. That should be out on Monday. And I've got a special guest this week. Mike Barron and I are going to talk on Monday about the Punisher and what Jason Aaron has done. Tell me that's not exciting.
That's exciting.
So that's going to be fun.
You don't usually see professionals talking specifically about storylines that are going on right now in a book that they worked on. Pretty well known.
I don't know how deep he's going to get into the Jason Aaron stuff. I think he's mostly going to talk about the character, but we'll see how it goes.
Oh yeah, I mean, don't want to lead.
Commandant VHS. I drop any channel that does shorts. That is a good rule of thumb. Once they go to the shorts channel, you stop watching. That's what happened, Fatal J.
Oh.
Leave me alone. I love shorts. Shorts is a part of my life.
Because you only have to work for 30 seconds at a time, man.
That's why I love it, okay? I'm a lazy bum. Slum.
Agreed. Who else do we have with us? We do have the Sultan of Soup himself, Rev Sully, Eric O'Sullivan.
Indeed.
Beautiful t-shirt you got on there.
Why, thank you. Check it out. You can get your very own in the store. You know, I hope t-shirt sales spike when I'm on. I hopefully
they should.
They should.
And I got a new layout for the Comics Aficionados thumbnail.
Nice. But I've always loved, honestly, I've loved the evolution thing, and that's great. That's simple, that's iconic, and I really enjoy the heck out of my T-shirt. It helps get me laid at the bars with all the
Man.
ladies. I'm kidding.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
The drinks helped also.
Yeah. The beer. And I just want to say, if I didn't say it the last time I was on, because it's happened very recently, and Wes put me over. Wes, thank you so very much. Live chat, everyone in the live chat, thank you so much. My channel just broke over 1,000 subs, and it's our first 1,000. Thank you so very much. The next, I got about 2,000 more view hours to go, but that's all falling into place with more people watching the show and higher retention. And I'm just really thrilled. And thank you so much, Wes. You really, really.
I just did a video on helping out the comic book YouTube channel.
It's a really good video. Check anyone in the live chat or anyone watching wants a few hints. Wes is giving his TED Talk. Check it out.
It was really basic stuff, but kind of helps to explain what YouTube's all about.
Well, Eric, you better than me. You probably get more views than me. Once I hit 10K, everybody stopped watching.
Aww.
It's like everybody agreed. Like all the
because you started making shorts.
It's not shorts, man. It's not shorts.
Okay, of the last 20 videos that you made, how many of them were shorts?
Wow.
20, exactly.
21.
You know what the thing is?
People don't have a personal relationship with shorts channels because they're not invested in you. They're invested in whatever stupid topic
I'm
that you talk
getting back
about
the
for
long
45
form,
seconds.
man. I'm getting back. I did a recent video. It did pretty good. It could have did a little bit better. So after the stream, maybe you guys can check it out. I forgot what it was about. Oh, it was about Zack Snyder's Rebel Moon. People like that video.
I'll be all right.
Okay.
I like good movies.
I'm more interested in your burritos, Jay. Jay, you should have like a half an hour talk with your burrito.
My life is going under, Eric. My wife don't make burritos for me no more because she said that I need to cut back. So I'm
she said you look like a cross between Tiger Woods and Luther Vandross. You get no more burritos.
Here and now, I promise to love
faithfully.
That's what drove Doc away. Was that combo?
That's
right
exactly
there.
what drove Doc away.
But wasn't that?
If it wasn't that
song?
channel, I would have left.
We'll see how many people leave now.
Yeah.
We'll
Who's up on the way out?
I saw at least 5 people say they were out as soon as Fatal J's face showed up.
Oh,
No
come
way,
on.
man.
You're fighting against the tide. You know what I mean?
Are you, Wes? Are you saying that we're going to do a comic aficionados karaoke night?
No, we're not.
That's a great idea.
Although I do live in the Philippines, and that's like a tradition or pastime here.
Before we get into the comments, Wes, I'm so glad that you're sprucing up the background because I thought it was always so weird. You was a comic book channel, and we never see comic book stuff. We just saw plain.
This is my living room, and my wife decorates it.
Okay,
I
know
nice
that.
enough to put the pillows there.
I know the pillows is a good look, and the little toddler toys on the top. It's a good look. You know, sprucing
That's just
it up
so the
a little
kids
bit.
can't reach it. That's not for the channel.
Oh, okay. I understand.
Obviously, I just got off my vacation. This is what happened to me. We got 2 dads on the channel here today, so I think you guys will understand this one. I thought I might have killed one of my kids while we were on vacation. Gabe, this is what happened. No shit. There I was. Okay. We're at the water park. My 8-year-old, she's just turned 8. We're there. They have big water slides where you have to walk up to this big platform and you go down them, right?
Water slide. Okay, yeah. We
go up to the sign and say you have to be 4 feet tall. Turns out he's 4'2". So he can make it. We go up to the top. We get on the slide. We go down, and he has the best time of his life. He thinks it's amazing, and he wants to do the other slide, which you have to go up higher on. Okay. We walk up all the way to the top of this platform. We get into the second slide, and I had not done any research on it. I had not looked at what it was, but I made him go first because I'm not going to leave him there on a platform with strangers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mom's at the bottom. I'm at the top.
Good dad move.
Yeah, it's good. It's good.
And, I send him down there, whatever. And then the guy lets me go, and I go down. And you zoom straight down as fast as possible. You go into this toilet bowl. You swirl around until gravity takes hold, and then it dumps you out the bottom, and then you're in a pool of like 15 feet of water. So I hit it, and I'm underneath the water, and I realize how deep it is. All of a sudden I remember my 8-year-old can't swim. So I finally surface. I'm like, where the hell is he? I'm looking under, I'm going to have to. And then I realize apparently he had floated. Well, and the guy had grounded him and brought him to the side. But I thought maybe I had lost him.
Man, you're terrible.
Wait a minute, you live in the Philippines. How do you have an 8? How do you have an 8?
About 25 feet away from my house.
How do you have an 8-year-old who doesn't know how to swim?
We
The
haven't
water's
had
right
lessons.
there. It's
COVID,
islands.
man.
The water's right there.
I learned how to swim when I was 7 years old, sir.
I don't believe you know how to swim, Fatal J.
COVID's not going to get you in the ocean. What are you doing?
I was
The
7
ocean doesn't get deep until you go like 100 feet out, man. What do you want me to do with the kid?
This isn't Flipper, man.
You're terrible, man. You should feel bad.
I know.
right
I
now.
felt terrible. I was like, oh my goodness, where is he? He's going to sink straight to the bottom. But apparently there's a guy waiting for you. But if I hadn't known, we wouldn't have done that. And my son was like, that was too dangerous. And they should shut that down.
And I guarantee you the second thought in his head is my wife is going to kill me.
Never.
No, my wife was down there at the bottom.
Never ask Wes to babysit. Okay.
Ever. He's terrible.
I was ready to go in for the save. Once I realized what I had done, I was like, oh my goodness.
Oh, I have that same mug.
Oh man, apparently AL had a very similar experience. My hubby did that with my daughter. Exactly. It wasn't like intentional. It just happened.
Man, there's many situations where dads almost killed their kids. It's a tradition, man. My parents.
It would have been the water, first of all, but
My
I would have
dad,
definitely
when
felt
I was
pretty,
a kid, when I was an infant inside the baby thing, he put me on top of the car seat, got in the car, and drove smooth off. Yeah, I mean, that's a dad tradition, almost kill your children.
Man, jeez,
I mean,
know.
It just means you love them.
My daddy went grocery shopping one day, and he put me on the ground, put like the chair in the back, and he put the case of beer on top of the car, and he was putting the groceries in, and the beer fell off and right on top of me.
Hey,
don't worry, it was light beer.
You're Irish, man. You're cool.
But I'm punched.
You're gonna handle it.
Don't worry, it was light beer.
You're gonna see the Gilpin in 2 days. What's going on here, Sully?
Oh, I'm going to my first Sox game of the year. I'm going with Gilkey. He's good company. We met him over the live chats and.
Shout out! You talking about Thomas Gilkey?
We're talking about Thomas Gilkey.
Okay,
yeah.
Tell Thomas when you see him, I hate his guts.
I will. He'll say the same thing back. He'll take his shirt off and then say it back to you. He's like that.
Somebody in the chat said Sweet Fatal J is on. That's like the first time
that's ever happened.
I mean, the first time I ever. Out of how many, like 30 shows I've been on, it's usually Fatal J is on. I'm about to go.
Oh, absolutely. Last but not least, we do have Yule Carter, who was on the Geek Out live from Berkeley, California. Fantastic Comics. Hey,
good enough. Yeah, I own a Fantastic Comics. It's a YouTube show and a comic book store.
Yule, now be honest with me and don't hurt my feelings. Now this is comic book talk, people. We talking about comics, please.
Oh boy.
But just keep it real with me if you have to, and you have to hurt my feelings.
All right.
Did you read Ninja Blast?
Yeah, I did. I read it immediately.
From a scale from 1 to 10, just be honest. And if you want to hurt my feelings, that's fine. Even though it's going to hurt my feelings, just what you think?
It moved a little too fast. It didn't slow down and breathe. It was just the one story, and I'm not really, it read all right. The art though was. See, I don't know who this person is, and I'm sorry if it's a friend of yours. We get the people to do the work that we have to get to do the work as writers, and it would have been so much better a book if the art was so much better. But it's always that way when it comes to art. The coloring, there was coloring in it, right?
That was black and white.
Or was it black and white?
No, it's not black and white.
It was color. It was just
the pages I saw were black and white. You never sent me the finished one.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've read it. But I got it when I read it immediately when I got it. And
when people tell you to tell the truth, you're supposed to still lie.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you wanted me to tell the truth. Well, what? You weren't the artist, were you? Did you do the drawing? It's really the coloring was what I had a problem with, really.
This man said the drawing sucked, the coloring sucked.
No, I did not. No, I did not. I said it would be a much better book if the art was much better. That's what I said. I hope.
We got any topics about comic books?
Well, we're still back. I'm reaching out to somebody. I'm trying to replace Doc.
I'm trying here to talk about my fucking YouTube channel, Jay. I don't have 10,000 people that don't pay attention to me. Okay.
Yeah.
But I had a really good show, and I did talk about Punisher. I had my buddy Rick Worley on, and he's a gay man who hates Pride Month, and it's hilarious. When
Hey,
you
I
start
think
talking about it.
Josh is like that too, right?
I don't know if he hates
Pretty
it,
sure.
but I mean, I think
I don't think he does. I don't think Josh likes it.
I think my guess was being a little hyperbolic. Damn, Jay, you did the art on that? I can't remember. Maybe I should have been a little nicer. You drew that?
I did the what they call it?
You did the layouts.
Yeah, I did. I sketched out the layouts.
Well, again, I mean,
Did you do the inks and pencils?
Because all that stuff was like coming from my head. Like I did the. But I promise you, I promise you this, and I'm not kidding. The art is 10 times better in issue 2 than issue 1. I can guarantee.
Look,
Is that because you didn't do the layouts?
Well, firstly, layouts isn't drawing necessarily.
I know that's the layout of the page.
I mean,
yeah, it's not drawing. No,
what are you, Keith Giffen? You know, I mean, please.
Listen, that's
no
a
big
selling
deal.
point when What's His Nuts does the layouts, when Kevin Eastman does it.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, you know, then you
I'm
get
just
whoever
sketching it.
finishes the book. You know,
Like I can't explain things good, so I sketch it out for the artist, and then he finishes up for me.
I realize that, but why are you taking offense to the art when your artist that you chose isn't so great?
Man, can you just give me a score from 1 to 10? Just be honest.
I'll give it a 5. That's the 5 and 6 are like the jerk.
The story
scores.
was there, the pacing was off, and you just need a little bit of higher quality art. But
man.
it is expensive. The better art you get, the more expensive the artist is.
If
You're starting out, it's your first book. What do you want?
Look, I mean, seriously, if you had Jim Chung on art, firstly, it wouldn't be done. Secondly, it would be the greatest book ever. You know.
Okay, well,
What are you
let
gonna
me
do?
ask
They
you
don't
this.
have that.
Let me ask you this: if it was the same coloring and if it was the same
They don't do the
story,
coloring. There's no reason. Firstly, I didn't understand why there'd be coloring. You're doing a manga-inspired comic book.
Because-
You're
I
even
thought it was
saying
black and
it's
white.
manga. Get rid of the coloring. That costs money. Stop it. Ain't nobody that buys a manga that's expecting color. Maybe in the first 3 pages. I mean, if it's
You
good
think
enough
so?
for a
'Cause I thought people hate it was-
listen. If it's good enough for fucking Akira, why is it not good enough for you?
okay. Well, let me ask you a question. I thought people love color.
What good color? You can't just fucking take crayons and put it on a fucking page.
Yeah.
In fact, that would have been better. That'd have been textured.
And coloring such a
And I
weird
don't give a
thing.
shit about coloring. Well, anytime I see a colorist on the fucking comic book cover, who cares? You are so unimportant to the fucking comic book. All comic books. If it's not a superhero comic, there's no reason to fucking color it. If you're doing a superhero comic, you should always color it. But you can't do that.
Well, I guarantee.
What about a superhero manga?
I mean, what is this, a Kablam comic that someone printed up? You
No,
know?
no, wait, I'm gonna disagree with you a little bit.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is because colorists, if they do their job correctly, can go a long way towards setting mood and the emotional background of.
I'm reading a comic book. I'm not looking at a coloring book. I don't agree at all. You know what? I got more mood in my black and white comic books here than anything that comes out today.
I'm not saying you can't do it in black and white.
Because
What I'm
you
saying
put
is if they do
a
their job
lighting in the back.
What I'm saying is if they do their job correctly, colorists can be additive to the comic.
There's not one fucking Boom comic that needs coloring, and I'm including Berserker. In fact, it would have looked better.
Yeah, but it depends on.
Well, and then Ron
the genre of
Garney's
comic that you're doing.
pencils on it.
Oh my gosh, it's like
So we did get a replacement.
Coloring
Hold up,
is-
fellas. We got a replacement for Doc, and maybe he
Okay, who
can
was that?
provide some context to this. We have Mike Barrett,
Whoa.
writer
wow.
of Punisher,
Wow.
the creator
Hello.
of Badger, legendary comic writer. How you doing, Mike?
Hold on, he
he's muted?
created Punisher.
He'll be here in a second.
He didn't create Punisher. Jerry Conway did, but he wrote
Yes.
Punisher.
He improved
For like 3
Punisher.
years.
He created
we
Badger.
can't hear you,
War
man.
Listen, Mike's written more stuff that you'll be surprised about. You'll be like, Mike Barron wrote that too? You're gonna be surprised.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes,
Mhm.
sir.
Yes,
Kid,
sir.
welcome
Good
to the
morning,
channel,
Mr.
sir.
Barrett.
Welcome,
Thanks,
sir.
guys.
Cheers.
Much respect, brother. Glad you're here.
How are you today?
What
Mr.
are your
Barron?
thoughts on this? Do you need coloring in a comic book? That's
Yeah,
what
that's
these
the
guys
question.
are.
You know, for the most part, you do, but there are some masters of black and white who can get away with it, like Steranko.
Absolutely.
Sin
It all
City.
depends on the quality of the artist. So if you were doing a manga-inspired ninja comic, would you want it to be in color?
Yes.
There you go.
Man,
You were
I
wrong,
like
Lewis
this man
Carter.
right here.
No, bullshit, because Mike Baron came up when there was the black and white boom. And I know it's not the same as it is today, but we've lost our way. I mean, what, you're going to colorize Raging Bull? You know, I mean, seriously, one of the greatest movies ever made, and it's not in color, everybody.
Well, Schindler's List was.
You know, you're talking about the black and
Schindler's-
white books of my youth, and I'm thinking of the underground artists, the great underground artists like Robert Crumb and Gilbert Shelton. When you look at their art, they don't need color because they've been working in black and white their whole lives, and they know how to fill the page and bring you in. In fact, color will hurt somebody who's overly detailed, not overly detailed, but somebody who's a really great detailer, like R. Crumb or Pat Broderick for that matter, because we're offering an oversized black and white version of Bronze Star.
You know what I've noticed, Mike? When it comes to black and white
did
comics.
you see that?
Yeah.
Too much glare.
Get out of there, Fable J.
No, I want to
Mike,
show
what-
you that the art has gotten better in Ninja Blast too. Can you
All
see
right.
You
it?
can see that?
I can't see it, though.
You
Send
can't
it to
see
me.
It's
Your
glare.
ring light.
Share the screen.
Oh yeah, the ring light. Okay.
So what I've noticed with black and white comics, Mike, is they look so much better on paper, whereas I think comic books with coloring kind of look good digitally and on paper, but I don't think black and white comics look right on digital.
You may be right. I very rarely look at digital comics, only when I'm asked to and for a friend. I'm a physical copy kind of guy because I'm a dinosaur. But also when that giant Chinese electromagnetic pulse hits and you don't have physical copy, it's all gone.
It's all gone.
Hey man, you
Absolutely.
think that's coming too? I think Russia and
Amen.
China.
Either
Russia
the
and China
Chinese or
gonna
the
EMP
Sun.
us,
Oh,
man.
man. It's going off the rails quick, Fatal J.
That's why I'm growing a garden, man. I mean, it's just nothing is growing, but I'm trying.
Oh my goodness. Fatal J is going to become a prepper. We do have a few super chats before we start talking about the Punisher here. Lade Craver says Marvel could never delete Punisher in Skull Speedo. There you go.
What happened to
Yeah.
Punisher?
No,
We're
that's,
gonna-
that's old school.
Yeah, you didn't read any of the articles.
You'll find
No,
it.
I mean
Yeah.
I know what they're doing to Punisher, but I'm saying, how did it get so bad with Punisher?
I'll be right back. Right back.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
He also says Gabe Face T. Franklin riding Iron Man. Is T. Franklin riding Iron Man?
Oh, I hope not.
No.
That would be
Definitely gets
fun.
a
Better not
That
ever
would
happen.
Yeah,
She'll
that
never
would
get
be
a
rough.
Why not?
mainstream, but
No.
Maybe Ironheart, but not Iron Man.
Nah, no way they would.
Not
do
even that.
Ironheart. He also says Transformers. I had fun. It was okay. Wasn't the best. Mirage was the best character, and Optimus, no question. Other than that, yeah.
the movie.
I've seen the. Yeah, it must be Rise of the Beast. I've seen the trailers, and it doesn't look good.
looked fine to me, but I don't ever seen one, so.
I mean,
I
I
like
think
it.
it went. I liked Bumblebee, and I think
I
I liked
did-
Bumblebee.
You only like the
Bumblebee
10
because it was-
minutes of Bumblebee.
Yeah, but I like Bumblebee because I think it was closer to the G1 type era of Transformers, and I think that's what people really want. And so when you came forward with the the Beast Wars situation, even though there's an established source material for that in the computer generated cartoon for that, the design of it went way back to the Michael Bay designs, and I think that's what people are starting to get sick of, is that whole Michael Bay over designed, everything's big and loud, but there's no heart and there's no simplicity to it, and I think people are just kind of getting sick of that. So to me, the Beast Wars, even though it was moving forward in canon, kind of felt like a step backwards in film.
There we go. Wakizashi's Tea House. We got Gray. He says, "Congratulations, Sully. You deserve it, mate." Wes, that YouTube tips video was awesome. Love the show.
Thank you, Gray. Thank you, and
Gray.
thank you for your support, Gray. Seriously, he's at a good station too, and he's one of our fellow Comics Aficionados panel mates occasionally too. So, I mean, I'm just blessed to be part of all of these conversations. Thank you, Gray, for
Absolutely.
being part of
We're
it.
all blessed. We got Mike Barron here today. This is going to be fun. Hold the Truth hostage says American comic books choose to fail, yet they still sell the most merchandise, most adaptations in the film, video games, TV series. We'll get this on stream one day. Do you think that's what's happened, Mike? Because the awareness of comic books, mainstream comic books, DC and Marvel characters, is bigger now than it's ever been, yet they're less popular while they're still selling all the merchandise.
Now, there's a reason for that, and that's because they forgot their primary mission, which is to entertain. People buy comics to be entertained. They want a great story. They want to be drawn out of their own life. They want to enter into a story that's so credible and exciting that they resent any interruption. However, the major comic companies now no longer value storytelling. They value virtue signaling. You have young editors who never wrote a thing in their life. And I have to say, some of my editors, like Archie Goodwin and Denny O'Neil, they were writers first. And these young editors hire their friends who have massive chips on their shoulder. And so instead of getting a story, you get lectures. And nobody wants that.
This man is smart.
Especially for somebody younger than them, right?
I mean, he pretty much nailed it, though.
Absolutely.
They
Been
put
in the industry
reality.
for so
They put
long.
the reality in comic books.
Sometimes
Reality
it
in
shines through. And, there's always been times when comics were stinky, for whatever
yeah,
reason.
exactly.
Sturgeon's Law. Sturgeon's Law says 90% of everything is crap. And that's true. It's not just true of comics, it's true of movies and TV shows.
Yeah.
That's true, though.
It sounds like the Pareto principle too. If like your Jordan Peterson, he just so the nature naturally arranges like the top 10%, do most of the work while there's a huge amount of do nothings.
The problem is that what we consider really good is Donny Cates or Zack Snyder, and then it's like, well,
I'm not really considering Donny Cates really good. Haven't been for a
all
while.
right, at one time for a
Since
minute.
Venom. Since Venom ended. I haven't really thought that. Retro Man says Jason Aaron has been destroying Thor for a while. Now he destroyed Punisher. No character deserves the Jason Aaron treatment. Thank God he's gone.
Don't forget his She-Hulk.
That's right.
She-Hulk.
Jason Aaron does good stuff on the indie scene with Southern Bastards. Like his creator-owned stuff is good. But I think whenever he gets on someone else's character, he just feels like the impulse to destroy everything.
I think his entire identity got destroyed when everybody hated the Confederate flag, and he's like, that's me. Like, maybe not that,
You
but
just nailed it. That's
you
what
got to
he
read
did.
that Southern Bastards, because even that book, he was, man, that guy has no problem writing words that he shouldn't be writing words for. I mean, you read Scalped, you read Southern Bastards, you read some of his other stuff that's, a lot more edgy. Even his believe it or not, he had done some one-shot Punishers that weren't so bad. When he's channeling Garth Ennis and the other Vertigo people, Jason Aaron's kind of good. But when he's left to his own devices, it's kind of like, he thinks too much. And I think
how much of what Jason's doing is at Marvel is him versus him simply acquiescing to Marvel editorial's direction.
50-50.
I don't know, because that Avengers run was pretty much all him and nobody else, and he got to do
sucked.
an extra
That's an
title.
interesting point. When I wrote for Marvel or DC, I can hardly remember any incident of editorial interference. None whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote The Punisher for 5 years. I approached it as a straight crime comic, and that was the secret. He doesn't interact well with superheroes, time travel, monsters, or spaceships. The Punisher is a classic American vigilante, like Wyatt Earp. He was a classic American vigilante, and these vigilantes never go out of fashion because there's always a need for them. There's a deep need for them today in every Democrat city there is, San Francisco, Los Angeles, especially New York, where people are afraid to go downtown because crime is out of control. Why is crime out of control? Because they defunded the police. Why did they defund the police? Because they have no understanding of history or human nature. Human nature doesn't change.
Yeah, and everyone always, like, when you see something, you're like, man, I really wish I could just kick that guy's ass with no recompense to it. But the Punisher gets to do that.
Right.
Because it's his mission.
And and of course, the vast majority of Americans support Daniel Penny, the Marine who interfered when a crazy man was threatening everybody on the subway. And the evil district attorney of New York, whose name is Alvin Bragg, charged him with murder. He should not have been charged with murder, but they interviewed most of the passengers on that car. They said they were terrified and they were glad he stepped up. He didn't mean to kill that guy. That's unfortunate, but the guy probably had a lot of drugs in his system. But that's neither here nor there. As I say, the reason I wrote Private American was I asked myself, what would the Punisher be doing today if I were writing him? And it seemed logical. 10 years ago or even 20 years ago, there would be no controversy whatsoever because most mature people understand that no organism, neither a single cell nor a nation, can survive without protecting its borders. This is as axiomatic as the sun rises in the east. And it's only in our new age where we succeeded so well that people have the luxury of inventing new problems for themselves because they don't have to struggle to put food on the table. So they think of bizarre gender fixations, whatever it is they want to push. But you know what I'm talking about. And that doesn't negate the fact that human nature doesn't change, which is why Cicero, Ayn Rand, George Orwell predicted what's happening exactly today. You read parts of 1984, and it's a description of exactly what's going on today. Human nature doesn't change. Well, these people don't study history. They think history began the day they were born.
Federico de la Casa says, "Hey guys, sorry to be late for the best show on the web
like
about
this
Punisher. I've all the story, but never thought to be an inspiration. Contrary, I've always thought to be glad to not be in his life. Yeah, I don't think you're supposed to really look up to the Punisher.
Right.
Hey, y'all
Like,
ever play that
he's not a
Punisher game?
straight hero.
And so at the end of that Punisher issue, Jason Aaron has a little thing that it's like that Southern Bastards Confederate issue, and where he has to like say his piece, and he talks about people that like the Punisher. The problem is we as creators or as fans, you can't control who writes the stuff you like, and you can't control who likes the stuff you read, who reads it.
Well,
if someone likes it, they like it. You know what I mean?
Every good writer writes to please himself first. I write the kind of stuff I would like to read. Mm-hmm. Wes, I'm sending you a picture on your Twitter feed of a page from Private American, which is available at theprivateamerican.com. And it is my answer to the Punisher. It's what the Punisher would be doing today. I know there's a furor about the use of the symbol. If you show that page, if you have the guts, and then I'm sending you another picture of an American hero who embraced the symbol, and some people can't stand that.
Mm-hmm. Well, Mr. Barron, Wes is an American hero. He served 20 years in our military protecting us. Thank you, Wes, for your service.
Thank you, Wes.
No fun. Thank you.
What would the Punisher? But the Punisher wouldn't be at the border. Is the only thing I'm thinking, because he's New York based usually, right? I mean, would you have be taking him down to the border, or would you just be continuing his New York?
Well, this is a totally new character,
right? I'm just kind of curious. Like, you say this is what Punisher might be doing now, but usually he still sticks it out in New York. So, with the stuff that's going on now, what would he be doing?
I had him all over the world when I wrote him. I put him into Iraq during the Gulf War and in the South. And I'm just saying, he looks around,
right?
He sees where he's needed the most, and he goes there.
I think I dig the other country stuff a little bit more than sticking in. You can't kill everybody in New York.
Well, plus Spider-Man's there, the Defenders are there, Daredevil. Eventually, you gotta get yourself in trouble. That's why he always ends up having negative interactions with them. Federico also says, Mike Barron, my first Punisher comic was his. I've also loved his Nexus. Also, people like Alex Toth and Mobius were already perfect without colors.
That's true.
Very nice. Federico de la Casa, I believe, is live from Italy. So your reach has gone all the way to Europe, sir. Very nice. Caleb says, sometimes I wonder if Fatal J is from a Michael Bay movie. He's always a screaming black guy and never shuts up.
Oh, my goodness, Callum.
I've never...
I wish I read that beforehand. I don't know if that one makes the show.
Callum.
That's my fault. Whoops. Fatal J is not here, thankfully. Hopefully you didn't hear that one. Federico says, these writers think they're Alan Moore. That's why they deconstruct heroes, but they've actually got nothing to say and can't fix them because they don't know what heroes are. They fear fascism but behave like them.
That's true.
Is it also though, like Mr. Barron? So many, especially from Image, when it started, so many creators were able to take their toys and leave because they weren't getting, let's just say consideration when the money's come up, and so you don't have to create something new if you just start diving deeper into those characters. So you're really just not giving a real story. You're just, or new stuff, I'm not giving new stuff for free anymore. You know what I mean? Do you think maybe that's part of it?
I think that they've lost track of the mission.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, I have 3 rules. My number 1 rule is, and this is the most important rule, it's my job to entertain. People want entertainment.
Mm-hmm.
Duh. If you tell a gripping story, they will come. Number 2, show, don't tell. And that means that any information you can impart to advance the story visually without using words you should, which doesn't mean you shouldn't words at all. You shouldn't use words at all. You just have to make your words count. And number 3 is be original.
Do you think Alan Moore's had a net negative effect on people? Because I've read Alan Moore's, obviously, Watchmen is much acclaimed. I think his Swamp Thing run is absolutely amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But so many people trying to imitate his style of character deconstruction,
Mm-hmm.
and they just can't achieve it and be entertaining at the same time.
They're breaking the 3rd rule, to be original. I thought Alan Moore did some incredible work.
Yes, agreed.
I love Watchmen. I liked his Swamp Thing. But I have sampled a few things that came after, and he seems to have lost the thread.
Well, also people don't bring
I was
up
reading his most recent, what is it, the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen, which I think came out about 4 years ago, and it was not good anymore.
That's right.
But we sometimes fail to remember, like Tom Strong or Top 10 or even 1963. I mean, those were magnificent. I think those were his attempts at trying to say, sorry, comics fans, I'm a comic fan too.
Well, he also did Whatever Happened in the Man of Tomorrow. I mean, he's done a lot of love letters to the superhero comic books. But
right, but you could also say the same thing for Frank Miller and his impact, especially in the golden year of 1986, which is when a lot of that stuff came about. Is their contribution to the comic sphere and ecosystem cannot be calculated. I don't think you can even hazard a guess about how much they changed minds and attitudes. The problem is exactly what you and a bunch of other folks have pointed out, is you have too many creators that are chasing after them to be like them rather than to be themselves and to create something new and fresh and exciting. And that's not happening. You get the Ron V's of the world and the Tom Kings of the world and all these people that are trying to do deconstructivism for its own sake, but they're not accomplishing anything out of it that's nearly as memorable. And and as time goes on, you just get diminishing returns, and that's not helping anybody.
Man, I can't believe you just compared Ram V to Tom King. That was mean. I guess you deserve it, Ram V. That Swamp Thing.
Well,
right,
the thing is
it was boring.
When I was a kid buying comics, it wasn't just Marvel and DC. Here we are, Mike Barron with Nexus, and we had Kamiko, and we had Mage Comics and Elementals and all sorts of other things that were characters that were strong and not in black and white.
There was a great movie director named Sam Fuller, and he said, if it doesn't give you a hard on in the first couple of pages, throw it in the goddamn garbage. And that's a direct quote. And that means you have to come up with an idea that's story, that grabs the attention. People aren't tuning in to hear your political views. They're tuning in for a story. And it used to be that you could deliver a political view if the story was first. I'm thinking of To Kill a Mockingbird and The Grapes of Wrath, both of which are highly entertaining as novels and as movies. They don't beat you over the head with the message. There's a story there. They showed, they didn't tell.
Watchmen obviously has a lot of political overtones, and it's actually pretty heavy-handed. But because it was presenting viewpoints from different sides that were coming into conflict with each other, and then resolving it within the story itself, rather than telling you how to feel about it, whether or not you want to support, Rorschach or Dr. Manhattan or whatever, and then it's engaging. It's a fun story to read because everyone comes away with a different perspective on what happened. Well,
he's still writing a comic, and you don't have to get every nuance every point doesn't have to have nuance in it. In fact, a lot of times you just want to be as simple as possible. Like, kind of like in wrestling, where we see these stereotypical characters. We just had the Iron Sheik die. That guy was like really just one note all the way through, but one of the most memorable persons ever, in wrestling, if not even bigger than that. And you don't need to have too much complexity. We'll leave that for the Bolshevik characters, or whatever.
Hold the Truth says, I emailed you. Can I join the stream? Respect you all. We'll see about that. I did get your email. I just got off vacation. I haven't gotten back to everybody, but I do appreciate that, and I'll get back to you. Common Sense says, Nigel Higgins and Rachel looked up to the Punisher. There you go. Yeah. Callum says, I hope Fatal J did hear it. I don't think he heard it. I think he took his kid to school or something. He told me it was going to happen before the show.
Mm-hmm.
Fatal J is a good guy. Why does everyone dislike him?
I like him. I like him just fine.
Fatal Great. He's here for super comedy and driving Doc away.
Fine. Barrett should be Titty Howard's teacher and tell her how to not be so unbelievably boring and no talk validation of food.
Let's not.
Why did Mike Barron? Why didn't you start being an editor and start crafting these fools into?
I help my friends, and I do consult for $60 an hour. But I want to tell stories. That's all I've ever wanted to do. I don't want to be an editor.
Yeah.
Same thing happened to Chuck Dixon. They try to hire him as an editor, and he's like, "No, I want to keep writing."
I don't know. I mean, maybe this is more like in bullpen days and stuff like that. But it just feels like you're all in it together. When you're studio mates and you're trying.
Well, there's also a sense of mentorship at that time, Mike, where somebody would kind of take you under their wing and help you get in the industry and show you the ropes. And
more like no.
Yeah.
Well, as I said, I hardly had any editorial interference at all. For 10 or 20 years, I wrote for the Big Two. And I think the reason was because I was coming up with viable stories all by myself. Because I understand the rules of storytelling. I understand story. And once you understand what constitutes story, you don't make a wrong turn.
Federico de la Casa says, Watchmen started as a whodunit crime story. Absolutely. It unfolded into something much bigger. All right, I got to ask you, does anyone else think it's really boring, the pirate story that's going on during the comic book?
Yeah.
That they keep referencing?
Yeah. Stop.
I read it in the first couple of issues, and I just skipped it the rest of the time.
The Sales of the Black. That thing's actually gruesome.
It is
all
good.
Hell.
It's because
it's not additive, is what I thought.
It's an EC horror story that's smuggled in. You know what I mean? Something that was pre Comics Code Authority. That one of the reasons why comics got the Silver Age happened.
I don't think it needed to be every issue.
Gruesome.
I mean, but the kid dies, and it's magical.
And making the raft, oh my gosh! And then the twist and the irony. It's a simple.
Sometimes suffering is important. You don't need every page of skewering that whale in Moby Dick. But it's long and drawn out, and it's there. It's part of the voyage.
Late says, so are the new Ultimates line doomed to it's going to be the world outside your window from the solicits? Marvel and Hickman are messing up already. What do you think? You're the retailer.
Just buy the Hickman stuff and don't worry about it.
It's going to be its own line again, right?
Sure. Why not?
Last time Hickman kicked off a whole line of comics like an X-Men, it didn't go well.
What do I care? I just please four issues that don't suck. I mean, Brian Hitch is doing the art. Hickman, I like Hickman.
$9 comic books.
Oh, how many? Oh, speaking of Mike Barron, we've got. Are you going to do text pages?
Well, I write novels.
No, I know. In the comics,
in the comics.
Jonathan Hickman books, it's 5 pages of story, and then it's a computer printout of what you just read.
Gosh.
It's a PowerPoint slide.
Maybe we should.
It breaks it down in graphics.
Sometimes you might get a graph,
Yeah.
Comics are a visual medium. Hey, Wes, we're still on for tomorrow, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm going to bail. I don't want to hog this show. You guys have fun. Thank you for having me on.
Okay, Mr.
Thank you
Barron,
very
good
much
to
for
see
joining
you.
us, sir.
I hope
You
you
have a good
revisit Sonic Disruptors like in the crowdfunding days. I mean,
I already have that
You
book
did?
is in the works. I'll
Oh,
tell you all about it tomorrow.
all righty, I'm in then. Thank you.
Excellent. Excellent.
Thanks a lot, Mike.
Well, but the question is actually there's a twofold question, right? Because you have Hickman's four-parter, but then they announced that they're relaunching the overall line with different creators and different artists as a second project. But I don't think they announced who's writing on that project yet, have they?
It's going to be Tinny Howard.
No, it won't.
Jerry
Stop
Duggan.
Dan
that.
Slott does the Ultimate Universe.
Not Dan Slott. He's
Wouldn't
not
that
gonna
be
work.
just a
He's
wonderful
not,
place?
he's not a Hickman guy.
I know.
When I heard that he's going to be being showrunner on this shit again, I was like, haven't we seen
It
that
didn't work the
before?
first time.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are going to be disappointed that we didn't talk very specifically with Mike Barrett about this Punisher stuff. But as he mentioned, we're going to talk tomorrow about it, and I'm going to put the video up on Monday. So you will get Mike Barrett's very unfiltered, raw opinions on what just happened to the Punisher. But let's talk about it.
Yeah,
Gabe
let's.
Hernandez,
Yeah.
you are the comic book reviewer here.
Okay.
Did you read Punisher number 12?
Yes, I did.
What'd you think?
Okay.
I'm
gonna
take
have
a
a-
while.
No. It didn't feel like a finale. It felt like an epilogue, the way it was structured and written. Because basically what you have is the Punisher and he's in chains and he's captured and his leadership of the Hand is done. And so what you have is all these different Avengers coming in and arguing with him about his flaws or the error of his ways from different points of view. And I think structurally that's kind of interesting to kind of get like different ways to argue against the Punisher. What felt really weird and out of place was when his dead, now resurrected wife comes back and says, "Oh, by the way, I've divorced you. I've taken all your stuff, and I'm going to leave you to be punished." And that's the end of it.
And I'm pregnant.
And I'm pregnant. Well, I don't think she told him that
She didn't
was
tell
pregnant.
him, but as she's leaving, she's
Yeah.
got the 2 duffel bags full of his money.
And that
Which
felt
frankly, she wasn't there when it was earned. She was dead the whole time.
Yeah, and I'm not even sure where anybody's really clear on the nature of her resurrection because they sort of just glossed over it real quick, like, "Oh, well, I couldn't leave the compound or else I would die," but Doctor Strange undid all that. It was just like a throwaway comment, so they really didn't
Deus
develop.
Ex Machina crap.
Yeah, so the whole thing about I'm divorcing you, I'm taking all your stuff, and I donated your half to charity felt like a really weird. Sort of like family court.
Is he getting a
modern
divorce
day-
or anything like that?
Oh, they're
Yeah,
done.
she said, "Well, I'm dead, so that counts as a divorce."
No, I meant
Therefore-
Jason Aaron.
Yeah,
You know how that happens sometimes. What
Yeah.
editor's getting a divorce?
that felt
Apparently that's what's happening to Donny
really
Cates right
felt-
now.
Yeah, that really felt like some kind of insert for some strange reason that didn't at all match what was going on. And it was like, okay, I don't.
No, it's a nice final FU, I
No,
guess.
Yeah, I
You know,
guess.
This was the
And-
final
what you mean.
FU my mom gave to my dad when they got divorced. You get
It's-
all of my debt, not half of it.
and
You get all
spoilers,
the
of
credit
course,
card debt, the car debt, all of it.
Yeah,
So
Wow.
my dad had to like move in with his parents.
That's
and it
right.
depends on the
Like
state.
5
Like
years.
California is a no-fault state. It depends on the state you're in. But,
She should have took the trademark for the logo and just like
That would have been the best
That'd
way
been
to do it.
hilarious.
Yeah.
Logo. You
I
can't
own the
work
logo
for
now.
it. I'm going to make money off of it.
And then the ending, which is again we're talking spoilers here. They basically shuffle him off to
Weird.
Weird world.
Real World, which is, I mean, basically Aaron's entire run just breaks down and destroys the Punisher's image
by
for
bit.
what we've come to know him to be.
Piece
It
by
basically distills him down to an unthinking, uncaring, unapologetic killing
piece.
machine.
Serial killer.
Right.
The
That's what
only time he showed any fucking sense of like any balls in that last story though was when he was talking to one of the men I noticed. He's like, "Oh, you do that to me, and you're gonna have to do that to yourself next," that kind of stuff. But if Natasha came in, she fucking she had a riot act. If it's his wife, riot act.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. I thought.
So so from the perspective of Aaron's run is pretty much designed, if you think of it as a conscious decision, creative decision, to distill him down to nothing but a killing machine, then sending him off to Weird World was really the only thing you could do short of killing him. I mean, so there was no other conclusion you can make. So from a logical perspective, I get it, and it seems to make sense. the question that really comes back to is, why do this at all? Why was there a need to deconstruct him and distill him down to a killing machine?
Right. So, but he isn't, because he's at the end. He is a killing machine that's trying to save the children that are in Weird World as they traverse, Mordor.
I mean, you only see for a page, so you don't really get exactly what he's doing there. And
so this is me trying to figure out. So,
Yes,
but what I noticed, look, let's be real about it. And,
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
They don't want that Marvel is a company. Disney is a company that wants to make money off the Punisher symbol, but doesn't want you wearing it. Okay. And they want to stop publishing the comic. Like, they could do Punisher and maybe, have like some new character, and they'll be doing stuff, but it won't be the kind of Punisher that we're used to.
Why? Because it's too alpha male or what?
They want to bench him.
All of the things. It's just all of the things.
He's too alpha male?
No, I mean, it's
all of it.
Yes. Yeah. Is it that? Yes. Is it?
Oh, totally.
Is it right-wing extremists? Yes, it is. Is it anybody that wears it in any sort of way? Yes.
Every
it doesn't
copy
matter.
Seen the logo on there. Yeah.
I show a clip on the beginning of my show, and it's this guy who's wearing a Punisher symbol, and he goes on to explain exactly what the Punisher isn't. We do need to gatekeep people sometimes, not every Punisher person out there reading it sees it like I do, or you do, or anybody else.
But you know what, you saying something crazy to me, because they rather lose money.
No. They like that symbol. They like making money off of it. So they're never going to necessarily kill that. But what they have done is this. They've killed Frank Castle as Punisher. In fact, at the very end, he says, what do you say to call him? Call me Frank. He's forever Frank of Weird World. Frank of this, Frank of that.
They changed the iconic thing. It's a bullhorn. A bull.
Dude, in the future, Frank Castle is Cosmic Ghost Rider, right?
Yeah.
So, he's not even Punisher anymore. They don't want Frank Castle. I feel like I'm conspiratorial here. They don't want Frank Castle to be Punisher. Someone else might be able to be Punisher, but, it will be much more nice. Yes, exactly.
It's going to be Echo. Echo is going to be the next Punisher.
Echo. Yeah, that would be perfect, because Echo's everything, right?
Okay, well, let me just break it down to the real. Let's keep it real. Real men, I
don't give a shit.
Wait a second.
Do you think they want to get rid of the Punisher, the white alpha male?
Yes.
You put white and male and alpha. Yeah, they want Frank Castle, the Punisher. They want him gone, is what they want.
Gotcha.
They can put a set of boobs, like Echo or something. And
Boob Punisher.
Dude, tell me, that's always the best Punisher symbol, if you ask me. Not in riot gear or anything like that, in a very, very tight boob costume.
Yeah.
I walked back to something weird.
Oh, I'm just joking about the Punisher symbol and how they want to make money off of it, but they don't.
It's a badass logo. It's one of the best logos in the world.
They can't get rid of it. It's Spider-Man and the Punisher.
Maybe a
Thanos with the fist. Yeah.
Y'all ever played that Punisher game on Sega Genesis? That was like the best game ever.
Oh, gee.
I love that game, man.
But they want to have the ability to have Frank Castle still around, and so now he's going through his hero's journey to save kids.
His redemption arc. His redemption arc.
What was that show? What was it? The Claire Danes show where she was Homeland. Where for 3 seasons she's taking out all these terrorists, and then all of a sudden the fourth season she's helping them. It was like, what a weird turn for the character. Like, you ruined the whole show. Because you I don't know, I guess it was bad to be that Claire Danes character now. No one else remembers that?
I never watched it.
I remember the show, I just never watched it though.
Oh, well, it was pretty good for 3. It's got the Inigo Montoya.
But I think you will hit the nail on the head. Is the most likely scenario is they take Frank Castle off the board, they put him up on the shelf to cool off a little bit, and then they will either bring him back after an extended redemption arc at Weird World, where he sees the error of his killing ways and kind of turns into a kinder, gentler Punisher, or the mantle is passed off to somebody else who doesn't have the past stigma of just being a a right wing killing machine, whatever whatever
Or
buzzword you
representing
wanna attach
them
to it,
and their
something like
values.
that. So probably one of the other. I don't see them bringing him back in his former capacity.
Hmm.
This is what I
probably
would
gonna be some
recommend
change.
doing. Make someone else the Punisher, like the Punisher used to be, but maybe even worse. Never ever give them a comic book. They're
Just make
only
him a
ever
villain?
a side character. Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. They're only ever a villain. They
Make the
go
evil
to
Captain
prison.
America the new Punisher. What was that guy's name? The one that was.
Ooh.
Oh,
That's a
I'm
good
not
idea.
sure.
The
I can't
evil-
remember the other Captain America that failed.
Oh,
The 50s?
the one who became U.S. agent,
Yes, John.
Not
John
John
Walker.
Walker.
John Walker.
That's
John Walker.
that's a
Make
good
him
idea.
the Punisher.
That's a good
Sure.
idea.
That's
Yeah, that'll work.
But now,
Go
freak
too
that. I
far.
want Frank Castle.
Well,
Well, everyone does.
You'll get them in like 20 years when they figure out, hey,
Yeah.
how can we make more money? Hey, let's bring back Frank Castle,
do
the
we
Punisher.
really care that there's people out there that like that symbol that we don't agree with? Fuck, I don't know. The owner of this goddamn place votes the way I don't.
Yeah.
Selling a lot of T-shirts. You know what
I mean, I guess the proof of the pudding will be on the plate, whether if Marvel renews the copyright and the logo again or not, which they are going to probably will do.
Oh
Yeah,
well,
it's worth a lot
Disney
of
won't
money.
let that go away.
Exactly. I mean, that's
Hey,
like the real, why aren't you letting this lapse?
Well, I mean,
You know
that's
what
the thing that's so insidious about everything that us fans really bitch about. Okay, it's like, oh, they're changing this for this. Why don't they just do this? And they never do. And it's always like, man, you're using what we like to try and get us in there, but you're not doing what we like. It's like I'm done with it. I'm super done with it. I've been done with it for a long time, and I'm very much done
Garth
with it.
Ennis's Punisher run, like especially Punisher Max, is super duper violent. It's way over the top, and it's really interesting, especially for a character like that to live in the Marvel 616.
I mean, we're probably going to find out in about I guess a year or so, because they meaning Disney Marvel has announced that they're filming a new season of The Punisher for Disney
That's
Plus.
what I'm saying. It's
So
super
I would
mixed
expect them to
messaging.
bring something back in time for that show's release.
But
But it won't be the same. It won't be the
What
same.
Disney Punisher are you gonna do? You know what I mean? And not only that, do you want to see that? And that's what I'm saying. They
I don't know.
want to make the money off the
He wants to
thing.
see a Punisher talking stuff out rather than fixing the problem by the end of the god.
So guess what they're going to do to the Punisher that's coming to Disney?
What are they gonna do?
No, I'm just saying, just
Nerf
imagine.
bullets.
Just a
No, his new
Non-lethal.
model is
Yeah.
going to be the Punisher. Hugs, not slugs. So
He's gonna be shooting people with
nailed it.
beanbags.
You
Did
nailed
y'all
it.
see what they
Hey,
did
that
to
can hurt.
Daredevil? Did y'all see what they did to Daredevil?
He's got the
He-
walk of shame.
He's joking.
kindness. I'm going to kill you with kindness.
He's joking, giving hugs.
We're gonna
going
hug it
on
out.
Dates,
I'm okay with that. Daredevil gets
freak?
way too deep in. That's a character. What we talk about in the comic store. We talk a lot about how Daredevil always has to go so freaking deep all the time that there's a rubber band that's going to snap. I mean, he's led bad guys throughout New York City and whatever a bunch of times now. You can't keep doing this. You can't keep, like, when are they going to put him down? If you're going to do the Punisher, you might as well do Daredevil.
They just put him in prison.
Oh, did he go up? Oh, wait, he's in
No.
prison again?
No. They just had him in prison with Marco Cicchetto and Chip Zdarsky.
Because he killed
Because he
somebody.
killed
He
somebody.
He let his Catholic guilt keep him in prison instead
God
of just
damn, I
walking.
remember that. But now he's doing it again. He's got bad guys and they're teaming up against other guys.
They're the Fist now, right?
You know,
To
he
take out the-
took over the Hand with Elektra, and then that turned into a big war against Frank Castle,
Yeah.
who is the Fist of the Beast, which is it got confusing. And then they had it was a spiritual war between good and evil and other evil.
Back
And-
when Charles Soule was writing Daredevil, he was fricking around with the demon also. It's like it's always
Charles
super-
Soule's Daredevil kind of sucked though.
It wasn't that great, and it also was like I kind of liked the blind spot character, but they just were so, I'm not a citizen and blah blah blah, and it was like, all right, I know you practice law, I don't care. Sometimes just get to the superhero.
Man, this is what I would do with the Daredevil comic book. I would make him completely broke, have to represent somebody gave him like $1 million that he knew was guilty, get him off, and then go and murder the guy and get addicted to it.
Ain't nobody gonna give him $1 million.
To get him off?
Get him off of murder? Absolutely.
What, like a mafia guy or something?
Yeah.
Kingpin.
Oh, okay, that could work.
Like a nice bill, he gets him off.
Oh, I see. So you want Matt Murdock to be Punisher? He could have like a
Basically,
Punisher Daredevil.
he gets
kinda
addicted to
costume.
it. They have to like save him from himself. He thinks he's like
That's the
righteous
only
hand of
place
God.
you can go. The rubber band snaps the minute you do that story.
Well, I mean, let's see. I mean, if you read this week's Daredevil number 12, he goes through a pretty big shift there. So we'll see. And Blind Spot shows up in that issue as well.
Oh, okay.
What's the best Daredevil? The best Daredevil run in your opinion?
Frank
Miller?
Nope,
Frank Miller.
Man Without Fear.
Oh, okay, I read that one. Okay.
If I was going to go one, it would be Born Again. If I had to pick any,
The best story. Yeah.
yeah, because you
That thing's pretty dark too. You got like Karen like sucking dick for crack.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Wow. I like Daredevil 174, 175, and 176. That's like the introduction of the Hand, Karigi the Ninja,
Okay, I
Elektra,
need to
and
read
Matt.
that.
This is some good stuff. This
I
is
love
really
the Hand, man. I
Klaus-
love the
Klaus
Hand. I
Janson,
love
Frank Miller.
Elektra.
You know there was
Daredevil number 4. He's fighting like
1981.
Manbull or something. Some type of the Matador. That's who he's fighting. It was the Matador.
we could do Daredevil all day. Any more other super chats?
We do. You want to get into it? Well, all right.
No, I mean, nobody wants to hear us talk forever about. So
about
Daredevil
Punisher.
and Punisher are so very much entwined, and Punisher was such the villain, really to Daredevil's good guy.
They
You
street
know,
level,
that would
right?
be
Right, kind of like a dark mirror or a conscious, like hey, like
Yeah,
you're
Frank
capable
Castle
of-
looks down on Daredevil because he won't
Right.
do what it takes to make the streets clean, and Daredevil looks down on Frank Castle because he goes so far. That
Correct,
makes him
yeah.
evil.
Well, let's be honest. Pretty much everybody in Daredevil's life looks down on him because he won't do what he needs to do. Elektra, Stick, everybody else pretty much gives him that same attitude. They just go about it in different ways. But I mean, but back to the original topic of did Marvel destroy Punisher? I would say, generally speaking, yes.
Well, they certainly destroyed the character of Frank Castle.
Exactly. So
He's not a loving father or husband. He was a bad person from the beginning. He was a serial killer that only started killing people as an excuse. Well, my wife's dead now. I can do it. I can blame it on that. Rather than that being the impetus for him to go too far trying to find justice.
But Aaron did give you enough of a backdoor with the High Priestess to say that he wasn't necessarily that way by himself, that it was her influence that made him that way.
Well,
so they're trying to have their cake and eat it too a little bit. But yeah, I think this entire run is basically designed to take him off the table for some period of time. What
They'll
intend
call
to do
it-
with it is up to them.
They'll call it deconstruction, and they'll call it giving the character more depth than it ever has, because I read a lot of people talking like that. There was a really good thread of Mark Miller World tweeting about this, about how he's problematic and stuff like that. And I think you weren't giving, Garth Ennis did a deconstruction in Bourne when he kind of mystically became the Punisher in Vietnam. All right, I'll give you that. It was the thing that led to the thing that led to him becoming Punisher. But they went so far back, and it wasn't just depth, and it wasn't
He's killing people when he's 8.
They were digging a hole and filling it full of shit and throwing the Punisher in it.
Absolutely.
I think that's exactly what that was. It was a character destruction. It's funny, in the same week that Ms. Marvel dies, they really killed the Punisher, is what they did.
Absolutely.
And oddly enough, his death was more meaningful and impactful than hers.
Well, it was funny that people were going to kill Zeb Wells for this. They were so worried about. Were they really fronting and it feels so Tom King? Oh yeah, everybody's going to be mad at you for this. When everybody's really pissed off at Jason Aaron for this.
Oh, gee. I like what Gabe got to say. Gabe said, your ASM fans have spent $125 to get to this. And I'm like, that's a really good point to stick with.
If you put that arc together for this is Spider-Man, this is Punisher, but take the Amazing Spider-Man arc together, the sum total of issues that really comprise the What Did Peter Do arc is only about 7. I mean, everything else is just side tangents and the side arcs and all this distracting stuff that's happening in the middle. But essentially, if you were really heated up from issue number 1 about what did Peter do, you had to wait a year and 2 months, pay $125, and then it all boils down to Kamala Khan dies.
Correction. Got to. We got to do this.
We'll get to that here in a moment. We do have a few super chats. Common Sense says Marvel deconstructed Danny Rand and Frank Castle and banished them into the Shadow Realm because them existing is too problematic for modern society.
Okay, what's up with Danny Rand?
Oh, that was terrible.
He is who he is, Jay.
He's white. He's not allowed to do martial
Now
arts.
that is a little bit more on the nose, I think. Like I don't have to say white Frank Castle, but I can say white Danny Rand or white Iron Fist, right?
Yeah, it was a Larry Hama. It was the Larry Hama miniseries, and at the end of it, he gave up his power. I think he gave it to.
He gave it to Okoye.
He gave it to Okoye to defeat the dragons, and then when they defeated the dragons, she's like, "Here, you can have it back." He's like, "You know what? I'm not good enough to be an Iron Fist. You
were better at Iron Fist than I ever was in 5 seconds.
What? What are you talking about?
It was the weirdest thing ever.
It was so heavy-handed and weird. It was just.
And then Alyssa Wong picked it up and they gave it to Swordmaster.
This was so weird and stupid.
Swordmaster had some potential, but they ruined that one.
Yeah.
Callum says they want a Rainbow Freak to be Punisher. I don't think they want like an LGBTQ Punisher representative. Like Punisher murders a lot of people.
Oh, that would be nice for June and Pride.
Well,
Month.
well, we were talking, Gabe's like the kinder, gentler Punisher is what we're going to get.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Maybe Frank Castle. Yeah, he'll be the snuggler. Frank
snuggler.
Castle might come back and be the snuggler.
He's gonna have a
somebody else
lasso
might
now.
do it.
He's just gonna wrangle people up.
Yeah.
He's here to hug it out.
The snuggler.
Hugs, not
Callum
slugs.
also said Elizabeth Olsen and Chris Hemsworth spoke out against Marvel.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
In what way?
They talking about Hemsworth was saying Thor has become silly.
Yes.
No.
Agreed.
Like
Really?
No, he
Captain
said
America.
his 8-year-old son, I think it was, and his friends were like mocking him for Thor. Love and
Oh, I
Thunder.
love that. I hope
I
that
love
should.
his son. Shout out to his son.
Oh my God, I know. Could you imagine being a baseball player that's like hitting 175 or something like that? And you have to go to school and like everybody is like a fan of your, especially if it's like a home team. This is the same way. I mean, this is hilarious. They should mock you for these shitty. I'm sorry, but even the first one sucks. You know, I mean,
No, the
But
first
it's
one
not
was
as
like
bad-
the best one though. It was the
yes, I agree. The first one
First
is
one's
indeed the
actually
best
pretty damn
one.
good.
It's pretty good, man.
Yeah, yes,
It's okay.
I'll give
It's
you
okay.
that.
I ain't saying it's the
But the
then you
most
best.
got the
underrated
big
Marvel
four.
movie.
You know, and 3 and 4 just got awful.
Oh, yeah, it's trash.
Anybody that hates 4 and doesn't hate 3, I question. I
But
Oh,
it's-
I did not like Ragnarok either.
But it's
the
that
same.
same thing they doing with Thor. Thor is supposed to be that alpha Viking god, pure testosterone male. You know what I
seeing
mean?
him with a belly at first was funny, but then you get into shape. And
I thought he was gonna lose the belly in the movie,
Yeah,
though.
man.
well, he does it
It's
in
ridiculous.
Love and Thunder. He's doing like the workouts and he gets in shape.
Yeah, but don't like the Asgardians. They can shapeshift their body. I
Well,
thought
I
he
don't know
was gonna
about
shape
that.
his body.
I mean, if you would think about
I
this,
mean, he has a power of Thor. You know, he should be able to do something.
but this is
Something.
he's like 1,500 years, 50 like he's 1,000 or 1,500-year-old Asgardian god for humans, and yet he's treated like a ditzy meathead.
Yeah,
And it's like,
Yeah.
what are you kidding me? Come
a
on, man.
dumb jock. You know what I mean?
And it's because
Yeah.
Chris Hemsworth can pull it off.
No,
He's
I like
really
Chris Hemsworth.
likable and he's
He can
got
do
good
comedy.
timing.
His comedy timing is great,
Probably
but it's not
ruined
right
him.
for that character.
Yeah,
Another
Thor's supposed to
thing-
be serious, man.
This is another thing that the Ghostbusters movie, the 2016 version,
The one with the chicks. The
Yeah.
one with
this
That
is
movie-
another thing. This is the Watchmen of movies, is that it made people realize that Hemsworth was funny, and then he's just been comedy this whole time. You
that
know,
was the worst
and-
movie known to man.
Man. Well,
Yeah.
he wasn't that
that
Men
was
in
the worst
Black
movie.
Wars?
I don't know. I'm just fucking.
That
around.
movie flopped too. I watched like 10 minutes of
It's
that movie. And was
it's
done.
the women in refrigerators. It's that Green Lantern issue. It's everything we have to point. It's talk about your 0 hour.
We've got Sigma Comics here. It's HH, Drew, and MVP live from the Fan Expo Dallas. Uppercuts and arm bars and power bombs are on the menu. Oh, very nice.
Man.
We must be going to a wrestling show. Warm shout out to the Thinking Critical team. We invite everyone back here to back. Here Comes Calico Volume 2, the manga edition, live right now. I believe it's on Kickstarter. And Josh should be there as well. That's why he's not on the channel today.
I
hopefully
can't
you guys
believe I
found Josh's
missed that
spot.
again.
Or
'Cause
go
I was
into
at-
your comic store and get issue 2, and hopefully they have issue 1 of Here Comes Calico, which came out this
Mhm.
week.
Ooh,
Absolutely.
I was
Cool
in Dallas
beans.
last year. I was supposed to go. Sigma, you're gonna see me there this year. I promise. You'll see me there this year.
And if you go to comicalopinions.com, we have reviews for both issues 1 and 2 for Here Comes Calico, if you're interested.
I have a question for Jay. Jay, are you live close enough to Dallas? Are you going today or tomorrow to Fan Expo?
No, he ain't going
No,
there.
but I was there. I was in Dallas last year around this time. When the
He's
Fan
playing a
Expo.
round of golf tomorroh while he sings.
Oh, okay.
Luther
Because you can get
Vandross's
you can get
greatest hits.
Hayden Christensen, Anakin Skywalker to sign you a glossy 8x10.
No, man, that dude looks depressed.
Oh man,
I mean,
You'd be
every
depressed too if that's the Star Wars character that you got. The only
Wait,
person that got a worse Star Wars character was freaking Ray.
he got his wedding tackle burned off on Mustafar. You'd be that way too.
Nah, man, people respect Anakin. That's like top tier.
No, it wasn't. It was not top tier. He was a whiny bitch.
So was Luke in A New Hope.
He was a little
He
bit
kinda
whiny, but he was also
Nah,
capable.
Luke was dope, man.
Not only
Yeah,
that,
he was
I
going
mean,
to
he
Toshi-
was.
But he grew out of it.
Yes,
exactly.
A new
It's
Hope
only-
makes me shed a tear, man. That's a
It's
good
Luke
one.
only
went far
evident in A New
fast,
Hope,
you know?
and it's just a tiny bit.
He
With
didn't
the,
whine that much.
but
though,
all
in
my
New Hope.
friends are, have left the planet, kind of thing.
Blinking
Look.
light.
His
Yeah.
parents got
don't
burnt to a
anything.
crisp, and the man
his
didn't
parents,
cry.
his uncles and aunts.
He's not no whiny bi. Okay, that's
Yeah.
a man.
Yeah.
But you seem
That
like you're going
version
to
of
town
Anakin.
for the power converters.
The first
Yeah,
girl
that's the
he
only
kissed
stuff
was
there.
his sister.
Uncle Owen.
But that
Think
is
about
pretty
that.
hard because they do
Think about
murder
that.
his aunt and his uncle.
Yeah,
He
and
don't
he
even
didn't,
care. He puts them in the pile, he burns them, and he goes off. He
and
doesn't
you
even-
know, on during that part, that's when I cried because I'm like, this dude is so tough. He didn't even shed a tear for his parents
he
getting
didn't
burnt
really
to
seem
a
to care.
crisp.
He's
Well,
manly. He's
they were
you know.
holding him
Anakin
back.
Anakin would have
Yeah.
lost it and murdered an entire tribe of people.
He sure would have.
Yeah,
would
have.
made him extinct.
If this would have happened a couple of years ago, I could have been out there with Biggs already.
Exactly.
All right, so here's a question:
Exactly.
Were Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru, were they fridged?
Well,
They were opposite at first. They
yeah.
were charbroiled.
I believe
Yeah,
they
of
Such a
course.
stupid term.
It's a
they were
senseless.
they were a
killing.
they're Ben Parker right there. They got Ben Parker.
Dylan Lindsay says, "Hello, all. Fat Thor was a crime against fans." I agree.
Yeah, I agree too.
It was
It's
funny
a funny
for like 2
joke
minutes.
for a minute.
It was funny for
Yeah.
like 2 minutes.
I mean, when
But-
Thor came in and saved everybody in Wakanda, that was beautiful.
Right.
The
That was an
minute-
amazing moment.
The minute they
Yeah.
said something about the dude, it was over. I was like, all right, because everybody was thinking it, and then it
That
got
moment
said.
when Thanos says you should have aimed for the head
Yeah.
was awesome.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like I was like, "Oh, he won! Like this is great!" And then he snaps,
I mean,
and it's
Fat
all
Thor
over.
was one thing, but you know, we needed an 80s style training montage to have
Oh,
Thin Thor
You-
at
you
the
got
end of the
that.
movie.
at the beginning of Thor: Love and Thunder.
Didn't
Oh,
watch
He's
it.
got
really?
the chains
I
and all
didn't
that
watch it.
stuff. He's got the trucker hat on. He's training to get skinny again.
Didn't see it. Sorry.
Well, good for you. You don't watch that movie. It's
Okay,
terrible.
okay.
I saw Across the Spider-Verse and I saw Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I'll recommend both of those movies.
All right.
Speaking of that, let's talk about Across the Spider-Verse. Who all saw this Spider-Man film?
Not me. I haven't yet.
I saw it.
No one's seen it but me?
I saw it, man.
What did you
I-
think, Fatal J?
It was something up with my sound system in the theaters. Was there something wrong with yours?
No.
I could barely hear the movie.
Oh,
But-
some of the dialogue was low, but the visuals on it, like the animation was amazing.
Oh, it was amazing, but I still like the first one better. But I mean, it was nonstop action. It was really good. I enjoyed it. Did you enjoy it?
Here's the thing. This is what happened to me.
Okay.
It's the second day of my
I
vacation.
knew it wasn't gonna be that easy.
Lay it on
for
me.
a yes or no.
It's the second day of my vacation. I stay up all night and work here, and I normally sleep during the day. I take my 8-year-old to go see the movie in theater, and I accidentally fell asleep for about an hour of it. So there,
The
the
first
animation
part?
is very good.
The first part.
Yep. No. I saw the first part, which is all Gwen Stacy, Spider Gwen or whatever, Ghost Spider, whatever you want to call it.
The
They call
movie
him
got
Spider-
real dark though. Like I'm talking about, like the mood and the actual visuals. Like start getting real kind of creepy a little bit.
The only thing about the movie that I saw that I didn't like was Spider-Man 2099. They do not like Miguel O'Hara. They turned him into like a psycho killer.
Yeah, because he's supposed to be a good guy.
Uh-huh.
Not in that movie. He's not. He's
How
the
you-
bad guy. Besides the polka dot man or whatever his name
But they
is.
made the
Spot.
Pokemon
Spot.
that dude an idiot. The Spot is pretty cool too. They made him an idiot. So someone always had to be an idiot in these Marvel movies. Have you noticed? It's never just all the way.
Man, there was a
just-
super chat about that earlier.
It's someone.
But they were
it's
talking about
a
you.
man.
Should we read it?
No.
No.
I agree with Jay, though. I mean, it's usually Thor in one of those movies.
Yeah.
Since keep it a little with what we're talking about, but they do. They have to. So you don't want your villain to be so smart, but they also can't be so stupid or weak that why am I caring about my heroes? They have to have some odds to overcome.
Yeah.
And they kind of, I don't know. I feel like when I don't know about this movie because I didn't see even the first one.
You probably not gonna watch it.
Someday, I will.
It's not your cup of tea.
The
man. I
animation
already
looks
know.
beautiful. I mean,
Oh, yeah,
If you
I
like
saw-
multiverses and you like the Spider-Verse, it's amazing.
Yeah,
It's
that's
very-
the
Even if you
problem. I
like-
don't
yeah,
really care.
There's a
that
lot of
much.
different Spider-Men in this movie.
But I mean, I had someone call the store and say, "Hey, do you have anything with Hobie Brown in it?" And I'm thinking,
Oh,
not
don't wanna
every
recommend
day
that
does
book.
someone call asking for the Prowler. You know what I mean? And then they're
Hobie Brown's not the power. He's
He's a
Spider-Punk.
Spider-Punk.
I know exactly.
well, they
but he's
changed it.
also the Prowler.
Yeah, he's both.
Mm.
And the last
So then
time,
I'm thinking to myself, oh, this person probably wants some Spider-Punk stuff. And I'm
That
like,
book is
there's
bad.
not really anything
Oh,
to
yeah.
buy,
Don't-
The
don't
Cody
give him that
Ziegler
book.
one is all.
don't give him that one. That's terrible.
That's my point. So I just shined them on.
So, Gabe, you didn't go see this movie even though you got little kids. Like, is this not a girl-friendly movie even though it's got the bisexual lighting and all the pinks?
No, we just haven't had a chance. And honestly, I mean, it's one of those take it or leave it kind of things. Especially because I think the Spider-Man films are they worked out an arrangement so that the Spider-Man films show up on Disney Plus. So it's one of those situations like, well, why go through all the hassle of scheduling and spending all the money and everything else? We'll just wait a couple months, it'll show up on Disney Plus and we'll just watch it then.
Yep.
I can say this. I'm seeing a lot of really crappy 3D animation out of Disney. They need to talk to Sony about what they did because they made the animation, the 3D style look absolutely amazing.
It was dope.
It was
And it
brilliant.
was nonstop action as well. It's
Well,
not
I
a
mean,
dull
if
moment.
you're talking about 3D animation, that was all for Disney. It was all Pixar, and a lot of that was John Lasseter, and they gave him the boot after they brought it back in house, and they just haven't been the same since. So I think what they have the Pixar brand cachet, so to speak, but they have not had anybody in charge over at Pixar that knew how to get to the heart of stories like Lasseter did. And until they fix that, they're just not going anywhere.
Hey, you know who I used to get confused as the Prowler for some reason when I was younger?
Oh,
And please don't laugh at me. You
I won't.
remember that? You remember that Marvel character called Night Watch?
no.
He was supposed to be like a version of Spawn, like a Marvel's version of Spawn.
Oh.
You know what I'm talking about?
Well, that's funny because I always thought Spawn was just a ripoff of the Prowler.
Look, this dude. Remember this dude?
Yeah, I remember that dude.
Vaguely.
I used to always confuse him with the Prowler.
Sure. Just not purple, that's why.
Hey, can we spoil the movie?
Yeah,
If
it's
there's
been
a
out for
part
2
two?
weeks.
That cliffhanger made me. I was pissed off with that cliffhanger, man.
I did not like the ending of the movie because it doesn't end.
Because
Yeah,
it's a
don't
two-parter.
end.
It's a two-parter.
I wanted it. to
Yeah,
end.
but typically you should have a big event where maybe the hero loses to get to the second part. It just kind of stops.
What you think about the other Miles Morales? What you think about that? You think that's cool or what?
Live action, you
Fine.
mean?
Yeah, I mean-
It's nothing I've never seen in comic books a million
I
times.
know it wasn't nothing really, you know.
It didn't feel like something that was the big ending.
Yeah.
It wasn't a big fight or something, the climax or, it's not like the Empire Strikes Back where Luke loses his
And you
hand
feel
and it
it.
feels like all hope is lost. And then, you kick
Yeah,
into
you-
the next movie.
Or kind of like Endgame too, where you had that feeling like, dang, I
Mhm.
can't believe that happened.
Yeah.
But this, it was like, well,
Or like that old movie, Empire Strikes Back.
That's what I
Yeah,
just
that's the
said.
one.
he just said that. eh?
So that-
Well,
Boy,
but see, the
Eric's
difference
not
there is-
listening.
The difference there is that in Empire Strikes Back is like the top bar. I mean, that's if you're talking about sequels that you have to live up to, that's top bar.
But that's a
if you-
sequel that leads into another movie.
Right, but if
Logically,
you-
it has
but
a
if you
great
look at
ending.
it in
Star Trek
isolation-
did it.
Yeah, it has a beginning, it has a middle, and it has an end.
Oh,
Now, the
yeah.
end is open-ended that leads you into the other things, but they came to a conclusion. So
Hey,
if
y'all
you-
ever notice though those movies that does that set the bar so high that the movie that come after it sucks?
Usually.
Now, excuse me, and I know this is blasphemy, and it's probably gonna get me kicked off the show.
You
And
say
the chat
something
hate-
about Return of the Jedi, and this is going to be over permanently.
He's just going to
I,
mention the
I,
Ewoks.
no, I'm just to really set myself up for failure on this one. I love A New Hope. I love it with all my heart. It's probably my
Don't
favorite.
call it. Don't call it Star Wars. That's what it was released.
That's
as.
what it was.
Okay, well,
yeah.
sorry.
Well, George Lucas likes to
Stop
Star
doing
fiddle.
that
Wars.
newfangled 2000s naming bullcrap and call it what it is. Star
Okay,
Wars.
sir. Star Wars Episode 4. Okay, is that better?
That
I-
wasn't added until the re-release either. It was just Star
Oh,
Wars.
geez Louise. Okay,
No, it
well,
was-
I like Star Wars. Okay, the first
There you
movie that
go.
ever came out. I love that movie. That's like my favorite one of all of them.
Wow.
Of course,
Emp-
it's the best
Emp-
one. It's the
Empire-
second best movie of all
Sounds
time.
like Leslie
I
Headland.
agree. I agree.
All the Star Wars.
Empire Strikes Back is dope. It's amazing. But Return of the Jedi let me down. Now, I'm not saying it's bad.
It's because of Boba Fett, right? They
No,
really
it just-
screwed
it was-
the pooch
they-
on Boba Fett in
They-
that episode.
When they went to Endor, that's when the movie
Ewoks. It's the Ewoks.
No, I think
Ewoks.
it's Boba Fett because that was right at the beginning of one of the greatest openings ever, and he just got jobbed out like he was
Yeah.
freaking
Well,
so.
nobody
And there was,
really
and there
give
was
a-
zero pathos in Boba
Oh,
Fett's death as well.
everybody loved
Not
Boba
pathetic.
Fett.
Yeah.
No, man.
Lucas
It was when they
screwed the
went to that
pooch.
freaking planet. It was a letdown, bro.
The
Right, but-
musical number too.
but
Really kind
Lucasfilm-
of
No, I love that.
Lucasfilm, or at least
have
current
musical
Lucasfilm,
number.
does the same thing. If you were watching, was the second season of Mandalorian? I think was they brought in Cad Bane. Cad Bane is awesome.
Oh, the
And they brought
cowboy
him in with-
dude.
Yeah, the blue guy, with the
Yeah,
hat,
yeah.
because they brought him in from Star Wars Clone Wars.
Yeah.
Fantastic entrance. He came in like it was like the old school spaghetti westerns, and it was just fantastic. They killed him off like a punk little bitch at the
I
end
don't
of
know
that
why
season.
they do that to
And
the
it's like,
dope
The
why
only
would you
reason
bring him in
I even
to
watched
kill him
that
off that way?
season was because Luke was going to be at the end, and I found that out, and I binge watched it. just to get to
To
that.
answer,
Wow.
to answer Jay, they do that just to take the piss out of all of the old story narrative forms. And
I don't think the hype around Boba Fett was there when Return of the Jedi
I don't
came
think it
out.
was there either. I don't think it was
I
there.
think that build up
I
later.
don't
once
know,
they
man.
started
I
doing
was
the
there
comic
ground
books and
zero.
books.
Boba Fett
yeah,
was the
when the
coolest.
Well, he
comic-
was the coolest action figure because he had the best
Yeah.
design, but I don't think everyone was like,
'Cause
"Oh my
we didn't
goodness!"
have a story about
Han
it.
was blind and turned around with the staff
Sure.
and hit him in the back, and he flew into the thing and went to the Sarlacc pit. But it was
Marvel
like,
Star
well,
Wars
this
actually.
blows.
Marvel Star Wars gave us our first Boba Fett, our first Mandalorian story in issue 68 and 69. I mean, issue 68 is still about $150 at any con you go to. Last year it was $240 because I was looking for a copy to replace my childhood copy, and I'm like, I am not paying $150 for a reader copy of Star Wars 68. But you know what I mean? We had so much.
If it was 69, you
anticipation.
do it.
I have 69 and it was a cost
Oh.
$8, dude.
Wow.
It's part 2 of that story, but
Look,
it doesn't have the Mandalorian on the cover.
I'm trying to segue back. Watch this. Okay.
Yeah,
Return of the Jedi. All you have to do is watch when they
You thought you were segueing back to Spider Verse.
So did I.
I'm going to segue. I promise. When you watch Return of the Jedi, all you need to do is literally watch when they rescue Han and watch Darth Vader fight Luke and kill the Emperor, and that's it when it comes to the movie. Okay, now do I believe that this third movie is going to be good with Across the Spider-Verse? Who knows? But I can kind of see the bar is kind of dropped because I still like Into the Spider-Verse better than Across the Spider-Verse. Did that tie everything back together? Or that made no sense, anything I said?
I stopped
okay.
paying attention once I saw Skip was in the chats. How you doing, Skip?
What up, Skip?
Skip.
As a show of solidarity, everybody on Thinking Critical, or at least the comics aficionados, are shaving their pubes until Skip gets done with his chemotherapy.
Skip.
Are you down for the cause, Fatal
Bro,
J?
I shave
Sure.
my pews off the rip. But this is the thing.
Just like your widow's peak.
look,
it's
but
the same razor.
if my boy going to chemo, I might cut all this off because it's getting hot.
Yes.
Okay, well, I'm gonna
Skip started his first treatment about 3
Skip
weeks
for
ago,
you.
I
I'm
believe.
gonna buzz cut. I'm gonna get all this off, man, because I'm sick of this anyway.
Yeah, it's hot now.
I'm-
It's summertime.
I'm just going through a midlife crisis, man. You know,
we
I
can
wanna-
see.
I'm trying to experiment and stuff, and
You're cutting off your widow's peak. You're dressing like Tiger Woods for success.
I'm going bike riding in the park, wearing
Not
biker
eating
shorts.
breakfast burritos anymore.
Yeah, not even, I'm going through something, man. I don't know.
You had
what it
fucking
is.
granola for breakfast. You know something's wrong with Fatal J.
Something wrong
It's
with me,
try
man.
to eat healthy.
I'm drinking Diet Coke sometimes. Like, what
gosh.
is going?
Coke
And I,
Zero.
and I know it's aspartame in there and it's killing me. But I mean, what's
Water,
going on?
buddy. Water.
Yeah, you're
Coffee.
Right.
Black
Water's
coffee.
good food.
You're right.
Skip
you're
says his second treatment of chemo is down. Very well done, sir.
Damn.
Huzzah.
Too down.
Slancha,
Love
to
you,
your
bro.
health.
Love you, bro.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
Let's hear
But
some
yeah,
people
okay.
that
So,
think-
I'm
What's
about
up?
to say, what you rate the movie Across the Spider-Verse? What is your rating?
From what I saw, I would give it like a 7 out of 10.
That's cool.
Because the animation was really good. There was probably too much Gwenpool or Spider-Gwen or
Mhm.
whatever.
I agree.
From what I saw, but yeah, if you like a lot of different Spider-Mans, I just think they got Miguel O'Hara completely wrong in the ending. Wasn't really an ending.
I got a
Yeah.
thing to say about just some hubbub. About I hope the next movie has a reveal that Gwen, her dead name is Peter Parker. Wouldn't
So
that
what do
be
you
funny?
think about that, Fatal J? Do you think that Gwen
No,
Stacy is
no.
really a trans character in this movie? Because I didn't get that.
Man, that was stupid.
No.
It's stupid.
They coming up with anything now,
Yes.
man.
It's because of the
Is-
coloring on the costume. Apparently.
Pretty much.
How did they even? How did that even?
Yeah,
Well, okay,
exactly.
so it's a couple things. It's a couple things. So in the bedroom, in her bedroom or somebody's bedroom, they have a pride flag up above the doorway. So they're presuming that the creators are basically in favor of trans rights, which is fine, whatever.
We already knew
then-
that.
And then the
Right.
dad, I think, had a I support trans or something like that shoulder pad, like a
Mhm.
patch on his jacket, something like that. And then, and here's the third one, and this is the dumbest one. Ghost Spider's shoulders are a little broad, and her chest is a little too flat.
Oh my goodness.
So they're
It's just
presuming-
she's young and fit.
I mean, geez,
She
that would have
fit.
worked. I mean, in the
Well, yeah,
20th century,
That's why
you
it's
needed
stupid.
in the 20th century, you needed gay coding in movies to, have gay characters.
I saw
It's
this-
the 21st
thing-
century. You don't need that anymore.
Eric?
Yes, Jeff.
This person they put the trans flag and then they point like arrows to the costume and say, "Look, this is all on purpose." And somebody replied and they had Miles Morales and they had the Nazi flag and they're like, "Look, the color
Right.
coding's the same here too."
That's funny.
Do we think that's really what's going on here? And I was like, "That's a
No,
good
but
reply.
but the color of her costume has been that way forever. That's not new.
yeah,
So
Right.
it's stupid.
it seemed pretty stupid."
Honestly, Gwen to me is getting like Harley on the DC side of things. They're trying to put her in everything.
Getting
They're trying
there?
to create variants of
Been
her,
there.
everything, and it's just it's overdone. It's oversaturated. She's just not that interesting a character.
I
She's just
agree.
not. And they keep trying to shove her into everything. It's just getting tiresome.
I agree.
But voiced very well by Haley
Except
Steinfeld.
Bridges.
Yeah, and I think that's pretty.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty cool. Now, don't get me wrong, that Hawkeye show sucked, but I think that's cool. She's in live action and doing the voice of a Marvel character as well. I think that's pretty cool.
Goodness, what happened
Hey,
to Gabe? Did you hear glass breaking?
Maybe somebody hit him in the back of the head with a bottle. I hope he's okay.
We lost Doc. We lost Baron. Now we lost Gabe.
Whatever
worried
happened?
about you.
Yeah, what happened to the writer? He
I'm
was
worried
dope.
about you. I'm worried about you, Jake. Watch your back. Watch your six.
He couldn't talk about Punisher too much because they're going to do a video
We're
of
gonna
it
do-
tomorrow.
We're doing a
Right.
video tomorrow that's going to be up on
So
Monday.
he doesn't want to burn out, and we
But
were
he
going
was
to
dropping
get
some
way too
heat,
deep.
though.
He's great.
Mhm.
Yeah, I like that guy.
Well, he
Legendary
knows about the
copyright.
craft of writing, and a lot of the old timers did. And
Yeah.
Do you like
there's-
Star Wars comics?
He writes.
yeah.
Yeah,
Did
you
he
probably
write
read a
those
lot
too?
of Mike Baron comics. Then he
No,
wrote a
You
lot
like
of Star
Flash
Wars.
comics? He wrote a lot of Flash
Yeah,
comics.
Flash,
Flash, a lot of Punisher.
Basically
every character, yeah.
Yeah, basically. And he did all sorts of stuff. Like there's two, like I don't even like gun comics, but if I'm gonna read gun comics, there's two writers that I will read, and it's Mike Baron and Chuck Dixon,
Chuck
because
Dixon, yeah.
they're gonna get it right, and it's usually, the type of story that is still anybody can read it and not be insulted by it, I feel. And I've always felt that way. Like Team 7 is one of my favorite comics that Chuck Dixon ever wrote. And it's like had no business being that good ever. And the art was solid and from a really great artist.
You talking about
actually.
Team 7 with like Grifter and all those guys in there?
Yeah, teams. I don't think was Grifter in that. I can't remember, but
He
yeah,
is in there.
yeah.
Grifter and what's the dude?
Death Blow.
Death Blow. Yeah.
And
Death
Lynch
Blow's
and
a
all
good
those
character.
characters. But yeah, that was good stuff back in the Wildstorm days.
Yeah, Wildstorm.
Previously.
You know, and
Gaudy Biggerstaff Punisher talk was an hour ago, and we had Mike Barron, the writer.
I like the new Wildcats cover.
Yeah, that's
It's all right.
I enjoyed it,
It's
but
not my favorite, but it's all
I
right.
did when they killed spoilers. When they killed Grifter, I was done.
He's not dead.
He's not dead. Don't worry about it.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
That's
Now
I was
he's
gonna say, how can
going
you
through
kill
different
Grifter?
dimensions.
That's like
and
the main guy in Wildcats. How can you kill Grifter?
You know what Wildcats is? It's like a scene that's good, and then it's the rest of the comic book.
It's because
That's
it's
a
written by
Rosenberg.
Borzenberg. He doesn't know
Yeah.
how to write comics.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm not trying to slam.
Did you ever
I mean,
read his like fucking Punisher? It sucked.
I don't read. I will not read Punisher by someone I don't like. Oh,
This
Garth, the other person.
This is the thing about it. Wildcats, the story sucked when Jim Lee was drawing it.
Wait, which one?
When Jim Lee was drawing it, that first drawing,
Wildcats.
the story sucks.
Yeah. Well, he's not a good.
He's not a. But Brendan Choi.
He had his butt. Brandon Choi, give me a break. Talk about
That's Brendan
like,
Choi. He sucks.
What's
Excuse me,
nepotism
Brendan
for Friends?
Brendan
I
Choi,
don't
I know you're
What
watching
is
this.
that?
I'm sorry, but back
Oh,
then
he
you
is?
wasn't.
Because I've got something to say about Brandon Choi then. Seriously?
Is there real beef here?
No, not at all. I mean,
No,
who
I'm
cares
just
what
saying-
people from San Diego think.
Wildcats is known for the
Got a good
art.
point.
I mean,
All right,
the
let's,
military's down there.
Let's hear what the people have to say. Fatal J is significantly
I'm putting my foot in
derailed
my
this.
mouth.
He's sauced.
Sigma says, by year's end, the Punisher will be in pink stilettos and a bonnet. What a disgrace. If you want real Punisher vibes, read Here Comes Calico with guidance from Klaus Johnson and Mike Barrett. Penned by me, HH.
I'm at to
All
pick that
right,
up.
there you go. Fantastic Comics. I've got issues 1 and 2. And they're cheap. Way cheaper.
Calico's
than
more like vicious than the Punisher, though.
Oh,
A little more
gosh.
violent.
It says it's.
I don't know.
It says on the back that it's for mature readers.
There's Garth
He
Ennis
makes
Punisher.
John Wick kind of look weak, you know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
And that's a good spin too. Why is John Wick acceptable and Frank Castle isn't? I mean,
I know you were trying
Keanu
to
Reeves, baby.
say that.
jeez.
Yeah, Keanu Reeves. Everybody loves him.
I guess it's intention and like who's wearing your gear. That's kind of qui bono.
But yeah, I think it's
Well-
the logo's problematic because people
Yeah.
that they don't like were wearing it. And that's why
I understand that, but that's the problem when you're working on something that's trying to make money.
You think Titty Howard wears
Yeah.
a Comics Aficionados shirt? I'm going to get mad and change the show.
no,
Who gives a fuck?
I'd be impressed actually.
Yeah.
Send Mike Barron one of these.
like all these writers that like someone can pull one out of their ass, but a lot of times it just doesn't happen. But you can click on a book, something can happen. I'm not really a big Howard Mackey fan, but he did a book that I liked. It can happen. It can happen. And not everything's horrible, but
Absolutely.
So-
I don't like Chris Can't write well. His Doom story is pretty good.
oh yeah, and I guess that's probably the one that I like the most. Also,
The one.
yeah, yeah. A lot of people don't like Jerry Duggan, but I kind of like his Iron Man. It's definitely better than it's been in a long time.
His Conan stuff is good.
Oh, that
Savage
was
Sword
fun.
of Conan
Yeah.
was really good with
Yeah.
Ron Garney on art.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that
I
was a
agree.
good comic book. His Savage Avengers wasn't bad either, especially at the beginning.
Man, I like that book.
That has a person in it. We're not
The
going to
one
see
with
anymore.
Conan in there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Get
I
that
like
omnibus before it goes out of print, because they ain't coming back because they don't got Conan and they hate the Punisher.
Gallup, I
Oh.
really don't care about the movie. Talking about Across the Spider-Verse.
Yes,
I know
sir.
Spectacular is in with VA Josh Keaton, but does Gwen have male parts now? Not a real woman. Absolutely not. There's no indication that that's the case. I think that's a made-up thing by people that wish that was the case.
It's
But
the
we
month
already
for
discussed that one. Yeah.
Everybody wants to oh, by the way, you got plenty of examples you can use. You don't have to make up things too.
Callum, Jay, please be quiet and stop raining. You
Yes,
did
sir.
derail the show there pretty good.
No, I brought it back. I
Right.
I
voted
tried to
that.
bring it back, and I was like, I couldn't even speak. I was like, I don't know where the hell I am. Where did he bring me back to? Unrecognizable. Lade Kramer, CBR said Peter should move aside from Miles. Thoughts?
I agree. Let's do this. This is what you should do.
Mm-hmm.
Put Mary Jane all the way in Hollywood. Get her together with Peter.
Mm-hmm.
And he can be her like shoulder candy.
Do a romance comic, like strict romance, and every once in a while, maybe Peter goes out and does something super heroic. Maybe, but only do that, and then the superhero Spider-Man, the only Spider-Man will be Miles Morales. He can grow up and become, and then eventually we can get someone else that's going to replace him. And
if you want Miles Morales to be known as Spider-Man, yes, Peter needs to move
because all you girls out there that want to see Peter get together with Mary Jane, I guess you just don't have enough Lifetime and Hallmark channels to watch.
Sizzle.
We need a little bit of a romance comic out there. That's all we need from Peter Parker and Mary Jane these days. She can go out and do her Hollywood stuff, and he can just be holding her purse,
Raising
That's obviously what you all want.
Wanting a couple to
Did I say girls? I'm sorry. You're so invested in this relationship. I've never cared about their relationship more than people. I care about him fighting the Green Goblin, how the Green Goblin come back to life, whether or not, this.
All right, you need the relationship to put somebody in danger to motivate Peter Parker.
That's enough of that. He's still until Aunt May dies.
That's why I need Lois Lane in Superman.
Until Aunt May dies, who cares?
Whatever. Frank Zaka, happy Saturday, guys. Saw Transformers. Looks like Hasbro is trying to do a shared movie universe with G.I. Joe. That was the big rumor. They were also going to have Mask in there as well as a couple of other.
That'd be dope.
Well, yeah, unless Michael Bay is involved.
But this is the thing: all the G.I. Joe movies suck.
They are awful, aren't they? Except for the cartoon movie from the 80s.
Oh, okay, yeah. Now that's amazing. I agree.
Like the Snake Eyes movie was somehow bad. Didn't know that was possible.
The Snake
G.I.
Eyes
Joe
movie
Rise
was
of Cobra was
horrific.
awful. Then the one where they brought The Rock in there couldn't save it.
Sienna Miller as the Baroness.
You remember when me and you had that big giant game of debate? You were like, The Rock is gonna save DC when he comes out with this movie. And
that was never said.
Okay, people,
I said he was the biggest star in Hollywood, and I was great.
Wait, who is?
The Rock was about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
About 3 minutes ago.
I think 3 years ago. Way bigger than him now.
Go back, people, after this stream. Me and this guy.
See him look stupid, go ahead and watch it.
I was telling you that The Rock was not going to do anything. He doesn't save franchises. He's like, he's the franchise king. No, he's not. He sucks. The Rock sucks.
Jumanji would disagree with what you're saying, sir.
Because Kevin Hart and other people are in the movie.
It's Kevin Hart, okay.
Wait, Jumanji with Robin Williams?
Yes.
Oh, a pre-existing thing that they're bringing back and putting a bunch of stars in.
And
I don't know.
It's no coincidence that the Fast and the Furious franchise was at its apex when The Rock was in there and immediately bombed as soon as he stopped being in.
That's because the movies all suck. That's why it bombed.
Well, the movies do suck. But don't say that in front of
Doc's not here.
Doc. The good thing he's not here. He would have left.
Good thing.
Because of you again. Let's consider Doc just left again because of you again.
Callum, it sounds like another woke black versus Latino movie.
What?
I don't know what he's talking about.
Latino, Latinx.
You talking about yeah.
I assume he's talking about the Spider-Verse. I don't get that one.
Wait, Miguel O'Hara?
Yeah,
right.
He's half black and Latino.
He's half Irish.
I know. I never understood any of that. Like Miles is black, right? Black.
Yeah. Yes, he's
right.
Black and Latino.
He's Afro-Latino.
So that's actually Latino versus Latino.
Kinda, yeah.
Dude,
maybe.
Latino and Latino crime is the worst crime.
Galvin says the movie's Miguel O'Hara is that they do him trying to replace his variant and raise his daughter. The anomaly destroyed the Earth, so Miguel is a tragic figure. Did that happen in the movie, Fantasy? Did I miss something?
Yeah, you missed a lot.
I did. I missed an hour of the movie.
Yeah,
it just seemed like not a very good version of Spider-Man 2099. I was like,
yeah, because Miguel is a good guy. I don't know why they made him a villain. I don't like.
You went Superboy Prime?
When Superboy
Basically.
Oh
Prime.
boy,
He
that
went
was a
Superboy
sad
Prime?
moment. That's another moment when old timers got mad in the comic book store.
Superboy Prime.
Oh yes,
Well,
old
that was
timers.
Jeff Johns letting you guys know that you were in the wrong.
Not you guys. I'm talking older than me, older guys. I love
That's interesting.
I think it's important to pay attention when old timers got upset because I don't know how they felt about the Barry Allen Flash at the time, but they get upset when Superboy Prime does something, or when Maxwell Lord gets shot, or shoots Blue Beetle, or when there's a funny Justice League, or there's Assistant Editors Month and stuff like that. They
have that.
They used to. These are like the levels of things that have changed or have done something that got old timers butts in a clench.
I can understand.
It's comic book talk,
Yeah, I understand.
Lade says, so for next Doc Suffering review volume 3, should we have Doc read Fire and Ice #1 or Power Girl #1? Panel, chat.
What are you
thoughts.
talking about? Fire and Ice #1 is gonna be so good.
Well, it's definitely Power Girl because it's Leah Williams,
Yeah.
and the Power Girl stuff in action has been terrible.
The
Right.
one shot was pretty bad. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm expecting Fire and Ice to be reverent.
Who's writing Fire and Ice?
I can't remember. Oh, I can't even remember. It was enough to make me think it's good though, and even the artists look good. So
Power Girl #1. That's the call there on that one, Lane.
Gee.
Wow.
Callum says, "Wait, is this Spider-Verse talk, not Star Wars?" Okay, so he's like 25 minutes behind,
Okay.
I think. It got sidetracked by Fatal J. There was nothing I could do about it, sir. I did my best. He brought us back to a point I didn't even recognize.
I don't even know how we got to that point, though. That's crazy.
Callum says Wakanda was a black versus Latino movie.
Oh yeah, because of Namor.
Namor's not
Yeah.
Latino. He's
Aztecian or
Well,
something.
yeah.
Yeah,
I have to say.
he's like a merman.
So Fire and Ice is going to be written by Bill Willingham with art by Leonardo Manco.
Oh,
And
there
it
you go. Yeah,
should
that'd
be freaking
You got
good.
Absolutely.
You got a good point. He wasn't Latino. He was Aztec.
Well,
I
technically,
don't even know.
he's supposed to be Atlantean, but they moved him to I can't remember where, but he's not really Latino.
Yeah, he's not. No, but I see what he's trying to say.
I don't think John Jones is really Martian either.
I don't know. Common Sense says Miguel is not the villain in the movie. He's just a tragic figure. Well, I came away with a different
What the
feeling
freak? He was
about
trying
the
to
character.
kill. He was trying to capture him.
Yeah, he had an entire army of
He was trying to capture Miles when he was trying
Yeah.
to save his mom and dad. He was
Yeah.
the villain.
Seemed like a villain to me.
Yeah. If I had a chance to save my parents, why would anybody stop me? If you're trying to stop me, you're a bad person.
I don't know. We asked the same question in the Flash next week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
So
gonna see
you said Skip feels your girlfriend's pain. That sounds weird.
Ooh.
He said he doesn't know anymore when I'm trolling or when I'm being serious. And I said, you feel my girlfriend's pain.
My kids have the same problem. They don't know when daddy's teasing them and when he's being serious. And he's
Well, part of being funny, I feel, is not saying you're doing anything. You know, you're just not
'Cause
admitting.
I'm a middle
it.
child.
But
That's
it's
the way I'm wired.
upsetting. Yeah. Well, I wouldn't give it that. I wouldn't say because of that, but
Are you a middle child?
I'm oldest actually.
What's wrong with you? You're supposed to be serious.
All the time.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I
You're
read.
supposed to be the
I own
mature
a
one.
comic book store. You know.
Oh. Beto J is
Nothing
definitely the
serious about
youngest.
that.
You can tell he was babied in his entire
Bro,
life
how the freak do you know this stuff, man?
because I've met you.
I'm the youngest. Yes, I am the youngest.
Only a youngest would shave off his widow's peak and think it was a good idea. Oh man. All right, we got time for one more. Let's get into this
Boom.
Spider-Man or Amazing Spider-Man 26 stuff. I know you've been wanting to talk about this, Sully. You
Yeah,
love the
maybe.
issue. I love the issue. Everyone loved ASM 26.
I like it for a lot different reasons. And let's put it this way. It was sold out of my local comic book shop.
All right.
On Wednesday that I went in at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. They open at 11. So in 3 hours, they had sold out of whatever they ordered. So I went to my secondary. I'm blessed to have a few different comic book stores in the Boston area. So I went to my secondary store, got the spoiler variant edition. They also had like 2 other variant editions as well. I haven't bought an issue of Amazing Spider-Man in years, to be honest. I'm only tuned in to what's going on with everyone that I watch, and everyone seems to be displeased with it. So, and I'm a lifelong Spider-Man fan. I really am. So I went back into my spinner rack. I got an old copy of Amazing Spider-Man 249 that was done in 1983, drawn by John Romita Jr. and inked by Dan Green, and then some, the late 80s Daredevil stuff. And then I found another issue from like it's Amazing Spider-Man 31 from 2001. John Romita Jr. and Scott Hanna, the same battery combo that we have in ASM 26. All this art progressively is getting to this point. I mean, seriously, John Romita Jr. has never looked better, in my humble opinion. You get these 5-6 panel pages, great pacing, great superhero fight storytelling. And like I said, I'm walking into this without the baggage of ASMs 1 through 25. All I did was spend $5, and I ended up with a single floppy that I could get into immediately, and I really enjoyed it based on the art. Now the story, it was light on story, and I know what's going on. I don't hold it against anything that you just shoved Kamala Khan in there right at the beginning, and then you use her at the end. I found her dialogue to be snappy, appropriate to her character, and in universe, this character is beloved. So by Peter and she literally saves the world. So for anyone to bring up, this foolish fridging idea, they got no idea. The fridging's about victimization. Kamala she saved the world. That was, that's a superhero's death. And I was like, I get the problems with it. I think people's problems with it are steeped in hurt feelings and dashed expectations. But as a standalone single issue that I just picked up off the shelf, one new release day, really interesting job. I gave it a 7. I gave it 8 out of 10 because it's
as an issue that's a culmination of almost a year and a half's worth of work and being hyped up as the moment everyone's going to hate Marvel Comics. I don't know that exactly lives up. This is what Cade says. You've been hanging out with Jay too much. Now you start to have terrible taste. Not defending the issue, but I won't call it good for killing a character I don't care about. I'm completely fine with the Kamala Khan, but I'm also good at wiped out the kids with Paul. It was amazing. That was like the best part of the whole book.
Well, a lot of people were wondering, like, how does this kid look like Mary Jane? Is this something that actually happened? And we found out last issue that wasn't the case, that they were already there. And it's a figmentary kids, I guess, and it makes sense.
What great storytelling to introduce them, finally get their backstory in the next issue. You make them disappear.
And there was a lot of stuff like that. Like, we didn't see. I think it's a problem in the way the story is being told. If it started from the beginning, and if we started from the fight, and then Mary Jane was gone, and we went through 3 days of Spider-Man to get to 4 years of her, and then it went in that direction, but it didn't. It had already happened, and then we were getting caught up, and then we were getting this story finally. And
because they wanted to tell you the mystery box about something that already happened.
Right. And the thing is like, what I would suggest is this. Somebody along the way, whether it be the writer or the editor or, Marvel, didn't have really, truly conviction that this story was going to be able to. It's just a really weak way to tell a story ultimately.
Can I add
also something? One last thing? The problem with Kamala Khan is that she, with the exception of Dark Web, had not been in Spider-Man comic books reading 1 through 25, really. And then she's just shoehorned in there. I understand that anybody could be in, like, he had problems with Aunt May in the beginning. He had problems with the Fantastic Four in the beginning. He had problems with Captain America and the Avengers in the beginning. He had problems with people, except for Norman Osborn. And any one of those people should have been the one to die. And it was Ms. Marvel. She died a hero's death. It's way better than Doug Ramsey and all that other stuff back in the day. but no, it was. I think that part of it was very hack. Everything else, like when John Romita Jr. is doing the art and he's really doing action scenes, doing a great job.
He's a great.
Some of this stuff is a little lame these days, but he's old, so I give him a break.
Let me ask you a question. He been on this run the whole time?
Yeah, for the most part.
That's pretty amazing. I've always now don't think I'm strange for this, Yule.
Okay.
But I like to imagine Ramada Jr. if Frank Miller was still good.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Could you see? Am I the only one to see the similarities?
No. They both supped at the teat of Klaus Janson and learned a lot of stuff from that guy. Frank Miller is always good. But I understand. When you get older, it's harder to draw.
Nothing against Frank Miller. A lot of people ragged on him for the pieces he did, but
the thing is that Frank Miller has done other things, been inspired by other people, and done different styles. Whereas John Romita Jr. Morphed into who he is and has always been very good doing this style. Yeah. And people expect more sometimes in different eras of comic book fandom, And
what was the name of the guy you just said that influenced them?
The inker Klaus Janson. He also pencils books, but he's like he's a good inker. He could make me look good if I drew something.
Yeah,
that's the guy you want finishing your book, and don't color it.
Man, I forgot about you just ripping Fatal J and New One.
He ripped me to shreds in the beginning of the stream.
Goodness.
So if you didn't catch the
I was nicer to Tom King than he was to you.
How about this? Hey, Fatal J, do me a favor.
Yes,
don't do a short on it. Clip it. And then fucking, do your little EFAP about this son of a bitch that has Fantastic Comics channel. Let them know what they think.
Oh, man. You just giving me
start a YouTube beef between you.
Do it, man. I need a beef.
Look,
come
man,
on.
We
need a beef.
You gave me honest critique, man.
White motherfucker.
Nah, man.
Don't clip this part. You don't want.
Man, don't call him that. Call him a cracker-ass cracker. That's
what
Chicken wing.
This is my human
Chicken wing.
This is my human brother, man.
No, I say it, man. Take it. Do it.
No, man, no.
Be big.
I love criticism.
Do the big screen, and they say, look what this
I don't know, Fan J. It felt like you were getting your heart cut out of your chest when you said it.
I'm listening to everybody. Dang, I forgot his name.
As a writer, don't ever take the blame for art.
Jimmy ripped me apart on one of his videos. Jimmy.
From Comic Quirks?
Yeah, I said, okay, do a review for me. He said, okay, we're gonna review Ninja Blast. I'm gonna tell you one thing, Jay. This absolutely sucks, and it's probably the worst comic book I ever read in my life.
I tell you what, on my show, I'm gonna be reviewing Ninja Blast #1. Just to let you know, I'm gonna do it. I might even make a short on it.
Oh man!
All right. Sounds good, man.
Should we start doing shorts here on the channel, Fatal J? Is that what you would suggest?
What, me and you?
No, just me.
I'm telling you, it'll help,
I ain't got time for 30 seconds for you too.
I mean, if you want to.
I'm doing the Running Man. What are we doing now? Around the world. Let's do shorts now. We're doing shorts now. Right? That's what you do. You don't have to talk about anything. You just have to be goofy as shit.
Oh, just clip a Big Bang Theory. Maybe do that. Yeah, that's a good way to do it.
Wait, what do I do to make shorts? Oh, random nonsense. It sounds pretty easy.
Pretty much, man.
I know. That's why I never mentioned shorts in my YouTube tips video. It wasn't worth my time.
Wow.
All right, man. I'm doing shorts. See, y'all made me feel bad,
man. They're just trying to TikTok it. YouTube's about long form stupid stuff.
Pretty much.
Indeed.
What happened to Gabe? Did he
I think and maybe one of the dogs did something.
You think his dog's eating him or something?
Maybe.
I heard glass shatter. Did he?
It was. Somebody tried to tell me it was a doorbell. I don't know. That sounded like glass to me.
Indeed.
And you're the dad in the household full of women. You're going to be cleaning that shit up.
I'm super worried though now.
I hope everything's okay. We just lost Fatal J too.
Fatal J just quit.
I'll be back. I promise. I'll be back.
All right.
I worry about you.
It's just the three of us.
So I was
Yeah.
I was a little disappointed on Amazing Spider-Man 26 a little bit.
Yeah.
I just felt
Okay, here's the honest truth.
like
I didn't think it was good, but I'm not going to get mad about Kamala Khan and those kids disappeared.
Yeah, I mean, because it was something strange that like those kids looked like Peter and MJ, and they were the only two humans left alive on this alternate Earth? And
No, Paul was there.
and Paul was there too. I mean, like, but there's Paul and MJ, and then they magically find these two kids, And here's another thing too, like, why didn't Kamala Khan heal from her injury? And I'm like, well, wasn't that some kind of enchanted
All right.
blade?
Yeah,
They always
that's what I
have
was
some kind
thinking.
of like there's magic. There's rules to magic. I mean, and also,
yeah, man,
I'm
that
like,
thing was going to kill, Mary Jane, and it was important that she dies. I assume that was an enchanted blade. You're going to get stabbed. Don't worry about it doesn't matter. You're going to die when
You
you
talking
get
about the
stabbed.
hobo with the tattoos?
Yeah, well,
the scribble.
I
man.
agree.
Yes, the
I agree.
scribble man.
Maybe that too. Maybe that's another thing. Like, I think I really
What are the
process
chances that
this
Paul
comic
is
book.
actually Peter from another multiverse?
There's a potential that he's anything like that. He could be the Beyonder. He could, it's like, I think what we're going to find out is that he's just not what he seems to be.
Of course, he can't be.
But I mean, which we find out in this issue.
Right.
I just feel like the
He's
storytelling.
Ben Riley trying to ruin Peter's life one final time.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, then he's like, Reverse Flash or something like that, and it's just like, I don't know. I mean, I think watching the fandom hate the fact that Peter and Mary Jane, which was like almost none of the Spider-Man I ever read in my life. You got to understand that. Like, I skipped
you
out.
Just skipped to 20 years when they were together?
Well, yeah, for the most part. And it wasn't 20 years. I mean, seriously. So we have like the late 80s when they get together. And then, I skipped Carnage and all that shit.
So you avoid Gwen Stacy and Peter
No,
Parker?
not even necessarily. I mean,
you want him to be an incel, is what you're saying.
No, Peter was a player.
He
And
sure
that
was.
was what was
No,
always
Daredevil's
about
a
He
player.
was
you
a
know
player.
what?
Yes, he was.
Funny thing, a lot of the men in the Marvel universe are players. Look at Tony Stark. He's with even a freaking robot lady. He's
Clint
with
Barton, man.
I
He's a
like
cape
when
chaser.
Peter
Clint
Parker was.
Barton. Oh
That
my
means
God.
that,
I mean,
that means that Tony Stark is pansexual, right?
Whatever. Look, someone's going to be in this group of dudes.
He's been out in the galaxy.
Seriously. The only, even Bruce Banner in different guises has been with a bunch of ladies,
But
I mean, this
wasn't it
is
a
not
time-
an uncommon thing.
Wasn't it a time when Peter Parker, just Peter Parker, was with Mary Jane, but when he was Spider-Man, he was with Black Cat or trying to get with Black
Not
Cat?
at the same time. Well, yeah, earlier on he was that way. But he wasn't
See, that's the
hanging
stuff
out
I
with
like.
Mary Jane during that time. We all have a time. So you know what? I'm going to give in to everybody out there because obviously there's more of you than there are of me that want to see I agree. Get them together.
You don't want him to be Spider-Man.
make a Hallmark comic
It's
book.
weird.
What was that?
I don't want him to be Spider-Gramps and be a bachelor. It's weird.
Well, I hear you,
Settle
but
down,
the thing
man.
is that we want the same thing, except we want it different all the time, and it's like you can't do that. Eventually, we have to get rid of Batman, Bruce Wayne, or else.
They already did the thing.
You
He gets
want
rebooted every
Mayday
27
Parker
years.
to become a thing? Why? Because
way.
it was horrible sales during that time. You want her to become a thing. Well, that involves a freaking grandfather, freaking Spider-Man, Peter Parker. You
Why
want
can't
Earth.
superheroes have families or romance? Dudes don't want girly romance. Not all romance is girly. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I
Wowzer?
mean, look at the Bill Messner-Loeb's Flash. I mean, Wally meeting Linda.
My
That's some
wife
really
and
good
I are in
comic
love,
books, man.
No romance
I understand that,
whatsoever.
but that's real life. I want to sell the Spider-Man symbol. I want to sell the Punisher symbol. I want to sell these things to people at Target and belt buckles and everything there could possibly be in wallets. And
You think
it's-
Sully's a belt buckle guy? Because I think he is.
I was.
No, I think he's more suspenders now. If he was going to do something,
put on a few pounds.
According to the American Psychological Association,
Yes.
approximately 40 to 50% of first marriages end in divorce. So
Mhm.
I want Mary Jane and Peter Parker.
Where the fuck does this come from? Why are you researching shit?
He wants them to be split up this way, huh?
I want them to be divorced. I don't.
Well,
want
they
them
never
to-
got a divorce, though, right? So
Are they-
I feel
They're
like
not-
I
Especially they
understand.
were never married.
I understand that, a lot of people don't like One More Day. But the
Mhm.
problem with One More Day was right before that, Peter Parker let everybody know he was Spider-Man. And that was a fucked up move.
that was the
you
thing.
wanna nip this in the bud. JMS did more harm to Spider-Man in his run than
The Spider Totem shit? Yeah.
any other time in Spider-Man's history. And that's including all the shit that led to it being canceled and restarted.
Mhm.
All the even, and I was just making fun of
Mark
the
McGrath
Carnage
said I was
days.
right, by the way, Yule.
I
The
like
Wedding,
JMS.
87, One More Day, 2020 years.
I'm
Okay,
a
very
JMS
good.
fan.
Do
I'm
you
a-
include the time when Mary Jane blew up in the late 90s in a plane and Spider-Man whined trying to find her for like 3 years? You can knock 17 right there, probably.
Well, you've
Hey.
also got the courtship before they
There,
got married.
there was no courtship. She was a side character at best.
You called her a side piece?
Well, no, she was freaking Harry's side piece, or she was freaking hanging around with Flash Thompson. She was always someone that was dating somebody that wasn't Peter Parker. Peter Parker was, he tried his time with her. You have your time. Everybody does with Mary Jane. That's the thing. She's a Hollywood actress. You know where she's going.
She's the village bicycle man. Everybody's had a ride.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, behave.
Hey,
No,
I'm-
but seriously, I mean, great character. I mean, she was,
I like JMS though.
well,
Uh-huh.
I hope
He's
you
coming
read
back for Captain America, right?
I only like JMS for two things though: Rising Stars and Babylon 5.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
That's
Craven's
I know
Last
a lot of
Hunt,
people
man.
that like that.
That's amazing writing, man. That's amazing
Rising
writing.
Stars Volume 1, I will agree. Everything else, no.
So what do you think the chances that Gabe's coming back? I've been, trying to stall here.
I know, huh?
Gabe's
don't
not
know.
coming back. He got
Gabe's-
hit in
Gabe's
the back
running-
of the head with a bottle. I'm telling you. That's why we heard all that glass shatter.
I know.
He's fighting
You
for
might be
his
going
life.
to like the hospital. or
Turn in
something.
my comics
No, he's
card.
fighting for his life.
I
right now.
agreed with you.
I heard a dog barking in the background, so it's some kind of fight going on inside of his house.
Oh,
Like,
The
man.
Spider-Man run was
It's
terrible.
Doc, and he's trying to take all of us out one by one.
This is like Undertaker versus Hulk Hogan right now. This is like a serious fight. Matter of fact, I scratched that. This is Undertaker versus Kane right now. That's going on in his house. It's serious business going on. Okay.
I don't think comic strips count when it comes to Spider-Man's continuity.
No,
I mean,
not at all.
am I going to start counting the cartoons too?
Mm,
They had to bring Firestar into the universe.
and Miss Lions too.
What was
Gee.
the best Spider-Man run known to man?
Oh,
Probably the
we all
beginning
have
with
our-
Stan Lee and
that's-
Ditko, right?
That's an
It's
opinion.
pretty good.
Me, it's
Um,
First
Craven's
40
Last Hunt.
issues or so.
Yeah, Craven's Last Hunt's one of those things where you took.
It's not really a Spider-Man story,
so
though. It's
dark.
a Craven story
Yeah,
with
but it's
Spider-Man in
Mike's-
it.
But it's the Mike Zeck pencils for me, man. That Mike Zeck art just kills
but
me
it's
every
only
time. I
6 issues.
love
Come
it.
on.
Yeah.
That's not a
Love
run.
it.
What is that ultimate? Excuse me. Was that Maximum Carnage? I'm not sure if that's the video game name or the actual run where Spider-Man had to team up with Venom to get Carnage.
Yeah,
Is that Maximum Carnage?
it's maximum. Yeah, yes.
That's my favorite Spider-Man run.
Oof.
Mm.
I love
Well, we were all 14 at one time. I understand.
Yeah, like
exactly. That's a good way to put it.
it's like you being like Fast and
Oh.
the Furious Tokyo Drift is the best movie ever. It's like
Dude, tell me about
I
it.
can't even squint my eyes and turn my head and get there where how you can think that.
Who
Why
was
did
the
you have to
artist on
say
that?
that?
That was what's his name? He sucks
Vin
now.
Diesel?
No, I'm talking about the artist on that on Maximum Carnage. Wasn't it you know
Mark
he's
Bagley.
Mark Bagley. He
Mark
sucks now.
Bagley.
He's
Well,
not
Mark
sucking.
Bagley.
It
I
depends on
think
who's
he looks
inking
that
them.
same
exactly like he
Mark
always
Bagley
has.
sucks
He's
now.
the same artist. What are you talking
No,
about?
he's not. Mark Bagley sucks these days.
It depends on who's inking him. I mean, Ultimate Spider-Man,
What
the first
happened to
50,
him?
first 75 issues of Ultimate Spider-Man, I think, were inked by Art T. Bear.
I picked up a Mark
perfect.
Bagley comic. I picked up a recent Mark Bagley comic, and I was expecting that same dynamic 90s style. And I don't know what the freak. And Mark Bagley, if you looking, I love you, sir. But go back to your old ways. Go back to your old ways, sir. That's all I'm asking.
Mhm.
You was the best Spider-Man artist, in my opinion. Yeah, I said it.
Uh-oh. His
Well,
stuff
it's not
was on
exactly like a really out there opinion, although there's been a lot of good Spider-Man artists.
It's a lot, but to me, Mark he was the number one guy.
Well, his stuff was on merchandise for the early 2000s. His stuff was on all that Spider-Man
Still
merch.
is.
You remember that comic
Yeah.
book where Peter Parker found out that his parents was clones? He thought they came back. Did you remember that one?
No,
Oh,
I memory hold that. Does he still have a sister?
no, he was like,
Yeah, he does. There was a sister in Spectacular Spider-Man from Chip Zdarsky, and she was helping him out.
oh, bro, you okay? You came back like rubbing.
We
your
were
wounds.
talking about what happened to
Yay!
you. We thought
Thank
maybe
you.
someone hit you in the head with the glass bottle.
No,
Yeah,
I'm
we're-
perfectly fine. Just a little mishap that needed some help.
I
So-
told you guys exactly what happened. I said someone
Mishap.
broke glass. He's in a house full of girls, and they made him clean it up.
Mm.
That's maybe not too far off from the truth. Okay.
Bro,
Exactly.
we heard some glass
I know.
shattering.
Okay, ASM 26.
You got any quick thoughts before we end this bad boy? Did you enjoy it? Because Sully said it was amazing.
It sucked.
It's Amazing
There
Spider-Man.
you go. I liked it because Kamala died and the kids disappeared, but other than that, it wasn't much redeeming.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so was it worth the payoff of an over-year wait and nearly $125 worth of cover price comics? Absolutely not. It's a shoehorned in excuse to kill off Kamala Khan, presumably to reincarnate her or resurrect her as a mutant with powers that come in line with the Disney Plus show just in time for the movie, which is coming out, I think, in September, October, November, somewhere in there. And it's cheap. It's lazy. It takes advantage of the goodwill of ASM readers, and shame on Marvel and everybody who's involved with that game plan, because it's not only it was not only poorly executed because the editing was terrible with all the mistakes that you could find in the last couple of issues, but it really just, it's a cynical, cheap cash grab that takes advantage of the customer's goodwill, and I think that's a really poor business practice, and shame on everyone involved in making it. How's that?
Well
Very
said.
good. Do you think that Mark Bagley is a better Spider-Man artist than Steve Ditko, John Romita Jr., Eric Larson, and Todd McFarlane?
Okay, Tom.
No, I think their styles are too different to make that comparison as better or worse. And because for all of the names that you just listed, all of them have had good points and have had terrible issues. So
But
you've
Gabe,
had
What's the
ups
bad
and downs
issue
on all of them.
Ditko ever did? He only did a few.
Well, I think Dinko would be the most consistent of all of them, but they've all had some ups and downs. I mean, I would put Ditko at the top of that list. Just me
I would
personally.
too.
Yeah.
Top 5. Mark Bagley is in that top 5. Though.
I just gave you 5, man. Of course he is.
Okay, I'm just making sure y'all put him in top 5.
No.
Well, I
not
mean,
even close.
would I? Where
Not
would
even
you put
close.
Bagley?
Not even
even
close.
close?
Because Bagley, he's below the 10, I'm assuming.
Yeah, Bagley versus Ditko is not even close. It's not even close.
Look, Gil Kane, Ross Andrew,
Yeah.
John Romita Jr., Steve Ditko. That's 5 right there. You want me to keep going? Mike Zeck did 6 issues. That's better than the entirety of Mark Bagley. Well, but you guys think I'm wrong? I mean,
Hey, Mark
anybody
Bagley's
out there tell me I'm
fantastic.
wrong.
I agree.
This is a
But
that's
Mark
sick.
Zeck didn't really have
Or
a
I
lot
might
of
need
character.
I might need to like work and say Eric Larson, Todd McFarlane, Ron Friends. That's 9.
Here's what I would say. I would say
Sal Buscema.
I'm
10, right there.
struggling with Romita Jr.'s recent stuff.
Well, too bad.
He's working very.
John Romita at his worst is better than Mark
See,
Bagley.
even Chris said Bagley is top 5. Bagley
I mean,
is
if you-
top
if you-
5.
Look, I just named 10 people. You can't fight me on those 10 people. You don't like Sal Buscema? Okay.
No.
I think
I'm sorry. Would you know that a person named John Byrne did fucking Spider-Man? Do you know that person?
Okay,
He
you're
at
right.
his worst is better than Mark Bagley.
Okay,
I've
John
never
Byrne.
seen Neil Carter this dialed
Well,
in.
because
like
it's,
he's doing
it's stupid.
Humberto Ramos.
To be in the top 10.
Man, he just went stone cold Steve Austin on your ass, man.
No,
I like it.
I'm not even talking about you. I'm talking about the entirety of fucking Spider-Man fans.
Yeah.
You
I mean,
only tell me that you only read Maximum Carnage and fucking the Shrieking and fucking the worst fucking Venoms ever.
no, I will say it like this: that if you look at
I'm not
Bagley's,
salty.
Bagley's
Martin
got a
Brown,
good
I'm honest.
if you look at
That's
Bagley's,
honesty.
if
What,
you
wait,
look at
you're
Bagley's
gonna come
work-
at me with Spider-Man?
I
if you
think
look at
something going on
Bagley's
with
work in the End of Spider-Verse, which is Slott's current run, this first arc was terrible. That was not good art. It was just too busy.
Didn't look
too
as good.
flat.
Yeah.
It was not good art. So I'm with you. I'm with you on the Bagley thing. I'm
Yeah.
with you.
So.
The
It's
Diet
not
Pepsi-
even anger,
huh?
guys. I'm just having a good time.
Y'all
The
thought
Diet
I was
Pepsi-
good.
Yeah, I
Great
liked it.
time. I'm loving it.
I didn't think
Yeah.
I could name 10, but it was really easy, actually.
That was really good.
You know what? Todd is definitely top 3, but Todd he was cartoony at times too, though. Do you agree? He was cartoony
Who?
at times. Todd McFarlane.
McFarlane?
Tom McFarlane is not in my top 5. He's
I'm just
I could
saying.
probably push him out of the top 10 too.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty revolutionary.
I'd choose Humberto Ramos over McFarlane.
You know
That's
what? I mean,
taste. That's
yeoman
personal.
workers like Jim Mooney, and like that's when you're talking about Mark Bagley. When you're talking about Jim Mooney, Luke, Keith Pollard, and even they're better. You know what I mean?
You know, I didn't know John Byrne did a. I'm a huge.
Trust
John
me,
Byrne.
you don't want to know about that.
I'm a huge John Byrne fan. I didn't.
Nobody
know
is on this one.
I didn't know he did Spider-Man runs. I didn't know that.
All right,
lot.
let's hear what the peoples have to say. Common Sense says ICV2 said ASM is the 4th bestseller in May. That's funny. So that would have been ASM 25?
And yeah, probably.
Yeah, no,
25
actually,
and
what's
26 maybe.
Yeah, they just came out with the May numbers, and what was kind of funny about that is it lists both 25 and 26. I think just because of where it fell in the schedule, and Batman's beat them both, which is
26 probably came out like the second or third to last day of the month, so they only counted 2 or 3 sales days, and those are actually sales and not orders. And so if your comic book comes out the very end of the month, the numbers can be off.
But still, Batman beat them both.
But it beat 25 because it would have been in the month.
Yep.
So there you go.
So
I want to, can I just really quick, Chris and numbers, letters and numbers. Yeah, that's the one thing about art and subjective, looking at something, we all have our tastes. And, really seriously, I was just.
You got really authoritarian on Fatal J. I liked it. I guarantee you Doc loved it.
I'm channeling Doc is really what's going on. I feel bad that I have to do it, but someone's got to.
Daniel Beatty says, please Disney let Sony do Craven's Last Hunt. MCU will mess that up.
Hey,
They are
this
doing
year, right?
Craven's Last Hunt, right? Didn't they
They
already
come
get
no,
that?
it's a Craven movie, but it's not The Last Hunt.
Oh,
But Craven come out this year, right? Doesn't it come
yeah,
out
it's
this
got
year?
that Anthony.
It's gonna
whatever.
suck.
The guy
It's
that
gonna-
likes the old chicks.
It's gonna suck, bro.
It was the guy who played
Aaron
Quicksilver.
Taylor Johnson. There you go.
Yeah, the
That's
guy who
right.
played Quicksilver in the MCU version of Quicksilver.
Mike Craven is trying to. He's all about saving the reputation of like the crocodile hunter, and he's going to go take out stingrays. What do you think?
But now it won't be Craven's Last Hunt because there's no Spider-Man in there. It'll just be a Craven.
Not that
movie.
we know of. I mean, they've not indicated, but he could show up as a cameo. Or
They
something.
could do it because they do own the rights.
Yep.
Man, that movie gonna suck, man.
They'll never be allowed to do that.
Well, I
Hold
mean,
the
after-
truth hostage. Comics are cheaper propaganda tools than film and television. You are true, sir.
Yeah, but they're not getting out there in the numbers they used to. Also,
It's not as nearly as influential as any of that.
and don't forget there were chick tracks too.
I think Chick Tracks
Awesome.
Chick Tracks. I think isn't that the most prolific or like the largest volume distributed comic book in the world or something like that? I thought
It might have been at one time.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, those grocery store numbers, you'd be surprised at who was really the best-selling writer in comic books if you look at those back, doesn't happen anymore really.
I do want to say thank you very much to everyone for supporting the channel. I've returned. Ended up taking a couple of days off after I got back from vacation, and then I had some technical difficulties. I was supposed to do a video last night, but it didn't happen. But We are back, better than ever. Doc will return as long as Fatal J is not on the panel. So he should be here next weekend. Fatal J got stuck with his O-face again. Very nice. Let's talk about some comic books we want to recommend and get out of here. Fatal J, you do not really read comic books. Do you have any recommendations?
Come on, man. I actually haven't read anything except The Night.
I mean,
The
I was
Night.
correct.
No, I read The Night, the Batman
the
The
Night.
Night. I bought that in trade paperback form, and I'm really enjoying that book.
What'd you think about when Bruce Wayne comes out as bisexual in that book?
I didn't read that part.
Oh, well, it's coming up.
Man, that sucks.
The art's really good. The Cooper art is amazing. I can't remember
No.
which one it is, Adam or Andy.
Yeah, the art is it's amazing, man. I like it. I'm enjoying it. I haven't finished it yet, but I'm enjoying it.
Very nice.
So there you go.
Anything else you want to promote exactly on the channel? If you like shorts, Fatal J is the comic book short YouTube channel, or are you even talking about comic books?
After Wes made me feel completely bad about myself, I think next week I'm done with shorts. I'm gonna go back to doing.
I thought it was the
long-form
YouTube viewers that did that to you.
Say that again.
I thought it was the YouTube viewers that made you feel bad about yourself.
Yeah, they did too. Everybody making me feel bad about myself, even myself making me feel bad about myself. But this is the thing. I got a YouTube short coming up at 11 o'clock.
You're scheduling shorts?
Hold on. Quit laughing at me, man. I got a YouTube short coming up in 30 minutes. Please check it out. Also, Wes, leave me alone, man, and let me pitch my stuff.
He's very sensitive.
I bet it. Let me mute this.
I got a YouTube short coming up in 30 minutes. Please check it out, guys. Also, I have a big YouTube video coming up Monday around 11 o'clock CST time. Please check that out as well. It's going to be about Superman Legacy. I have a lot of insider things that's going on with that I found out about this. So, guys, please make sure to check it out. Thank you so much for inviting me to the Thinking Critical Show, Wes.
Very nice. Who else we got? We got. Well, let's. People might not know who you guys are. I guess I should turn this off, shouldn't I? Yeah. There we go. We get the names up there. That was Big Baby Fatal. It's actually Fatal J. He's got a YouTube channel. We've also got Gabe from Comical Opinions and Weird Science. Great comic book reviewer most of the time, although sometimes you do some weird shit.
Go on, say it. I know you want to say it.
What? It's the Predator thing that's just
There we go.
still eating at me. I can't get over it. That book sucked.
Okay, fine. Yes, shameless plug. Please, on all the socials and our newsletter and our website, comicalopinions.com, where we cover basically reviews from all over the comic spectrum, except for Marvel and DC. For Marvel and DC, please follow Weird Science Marvel Comics and Weird Science DC Comics. You know what? I have recommendations, but we're going to save them because Wes and I are going to do a recommendation video, I think, right after this or very shortly after this. So if you stay tuned to the channel, subscribe to Thinking Critical, you're going to see a video coming up a little bit later where we have our recommendations for the past week.
And I hear you gave Steelworks #1 a 10 out of 10.
I did not, but
Wow.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. So if you're looking for a good jumping on point for John Henry Irons, aka Steel, aka the Iron Man of Supermen, it's a pretty good jumping on point.
Very nice. Eric O'Sullivan, I know you disagree with it. What do you actually recommend this week?
Well, here's my brown paper bag of comic books I got this week. This is the comic book bag flat. Isn't this great? I got 6 issues this week. And just real quick, I got Steelworks 1. It's a pass. I think the art is terribly flat. I mean, you can really tell, like, hey, I don't think I like digital art. I like pen to paper and inks, and there's no texture to it, no depth or feeling. The story was kind of flat too. It's a miss for me, but I'm glad I took a chance on it. I'm a big Star Trek fan, so maybe I'll support Mr. Dorn a little bit. I got this Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles versus Street Fighter #1 from IDW. This was another miss. Why? Because it has the 5th Turtle Janica is in this. And I didn't even know about the Turtle continuity on IDW, that it got rebooted, that Splinter and the boys got a new origin story. So
it wasn't good.
It wasn't good. I mean, the Usagi Yojimbo one is superior, but Turtles play very well with different properties. And IDW, they just keep turning these out. Like the Batman ones were really interesting. And so keep them coming. This one's just a miss for me. And
the TBT Batman ones were actually done by DC Comics, written by James
and those was good.
Those were amazing.
Yeah, I got Flash 800. This was like 4 out of 5 good stories. I mean, seriously, there's a Scott Collins, Jeff Johns one in here about Zoom 2. I love his art. I love that part of Flash. There's a Todd Knock drawn by Mark Waid. There's an Impulse story in here. It's just like the old days. It was a great, fun Impulse story. The weakest part was Cy Spurrier and Mike Deodato's part, and they're coming next. So I just maybe I might pass on the next Flash. I got Shazam #2. It's decent, great art by Dan Mora. I'll be keeping up with that. Ambassadors #6 by Mark Miller. This one was good. It's a little extra priced, $5.99, but I'm really looking forward. Pages. Yeah, I'm looking forward to Big Game, the Millarverse summer event crossover. But this was a surprise. Mad Cave's You've Been Canceled #1 for mature audiences, $4.99. Fun story. The art reminds me of like Kyle Baker. That's his name. He was on the Shadow. With Andy Helfer, and throw in some Jeff Darrow, like Hard Boiled with Frank Miller, and you've got like this future world where if you've been canceled, you've been on a network TV show, and the bounty hunters are coming for you, and so it's fun, and it caught my interest, and
it's like the Running Man.
Yeah, it's like the Running Man.
Exactly, but it's nice to support an indie press as well, not just Big Two Comics, and those are my picks this week. Thank you guys so very much. Indeed. Man,
very nice. And you've got a big Comic-Con coming up. Is that true?
We've got August, just in a month and a half. We've got August Fan Expo Boston. The Fan Expo Dallas is going on right now. So it's the same kind of junket tour where you get Hayden Christensen. I might spend the money and have and meet William Shatner. I mean, he's 93 years old.
You should get Fatal J a Hayden Christensen autograph since he likes that version of Anakin so much.
I know. Hey, you're missing out, Fatal J. Both Anakins are there. The animated Clone Wars Anakin is there, and Hayden Christensen.
I'm sorry, but I hate the animated clone Star Wars.
Oh my!
Because they made Anakin look like Chucky. The killer dog.
Yeah.
So I can't get into it. It's hard.
Oh, I'm your friend at the very end.
Okay. Whatever. We got a couple super chats. Let's hit these bad boys up. Frank Zanka, thanks for the support. Destiny Aurora funded and down to the last couple of days on Kickstarter. Definitely check that one out. Support Frank Zanka and Destiny Aurora. They got the audio book. You got graphic novel. I believe there's a board game. There's extra novels if you want more story. Really appreciate the support of the channel, and congratulations on funding on that one. Hopefully we were a part of that one. Infamy or Death says, I recommend you read the manga Pluto. It's an amazing story about really advanced robots, but they're being killed by someone. Just 8 volumes long.
Frank, I got you, buddy. You know what I'm talking about. I got you, Frank.
It's the Watchmen of manga.
Infamy Pluto is?
Yeah, I think that's a good, if I have to compare it to anything that's American.
Well, very nice. Because I compare Quark from Star Trek. I say he's the Rorschach of Star Trek.
Oh,
bro, I love Quark. I know about the acquisition. You know the acquisition?
Rules of acquisition?
The rules of acquisition.
Yeah. The rules of acquisition really is like makes you money. Study it sometime. I'm serious.
Are you trying to live by the rules of acquisition from the fake Ferengi society?
Yes, because they said if somebody asks for a refund, never give them a refund. That's smart.
Yeah. Cork's full of good ones. Like he's trying to tell Nog about human nature. You can't.
Bro, the rules of acquisition, like they have it on. And if you guys think I'm crazy, it's on the.
They have a
internet.
book on it, but it's not full. It only has the ones that you've heard of. I was mad about it.
What if
Let's put it
Ferengi
that
not
way.
gonna give up their whole alien culture to us? You know.
Well, the Ferengi aren't real, and it's called the rules
Well,
of acquisition.
in my mind, they're real.
I
You
just
gotta
wish
wait
there
till the
was more of it.
Vulcans get here. The Vulcans.
All right,
will come.
Fatal J. Enough of the sidebars. Yule Carter, fantastic comics, YouTube phenomenon,
Yeah.
comic
soon
book
to
shop
be.
owner. You got any recommendations?
Oh yeah, watch my last episode. It was pretty good.
You
look,
recommended they go to your channel?
not
There's a
now.
link in the video description.
This comes out next week. Spider-Man India.
Nice and
It was pretty good.
nice.
Wow.
Spider-Man.
Spider-Man
26
India is definitely in the Spider-Verse movie that it just
Yeah, he
Yeah.
in the movie.
a lot.
So continuity. That's good. Spider-Man 27. Interesting. It has Ed McGuinness artwork.
I believe
they're-
JRJR is done, correct?
Probably. I don't know. They've got other people in line, I'm sure.
Hmm.
They're doing something with Doc Ock's arms. I kind of like it. It's interesting. Anyway, Local Man came out a couple weeks ago. You got to start getting this book. It even does a
Can't
flip
believe it.
superhero thing.
What is that? Local
it's
man.
Local Man. It's just really, really good. And then I
Okay.
haven't finished this comic book, and it's almost pretty much in black and white. It's called The Sickness. This is a variant cover, and I'm not exactly sure what's going on here, but there's like gaps in time and some really interesting conversation and freaky pictures. So I'm giving it a very, very loose. It's from Uncivilized, so maybe your comic store isn't as into getting some stuff in black and white or, interesting. If you think indie comics are Image, truly, then you might want to check this out.
Very nice.
That was good.
That is the show. We will be back next week. We had a special guest. Mike Barron showed up for a nice 45 minutes. That was a lot of
That was
fun.
nice.
Got
Thank
a
you,
lot
Wes.
of stuff. I'm glad to be back. We got videos already recorded. They'll be churning out starting tomorrow. So thank you very much, everyone.
Doc,
Had a
I'm
blast
sorry.
on vacation.
Sorry,
Sorry
Doc.
about Fatal J.
Sorry, Doc.
We ran
Sorry,
off.
Doc.
My goodness.
If Doc
See you
never
next
comes
week.
back to the show, it's my fault. Sorry.
It's true, but he'll be back next week. Later,